Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Cause I was damn hella excited, and I wish our boy Teddy Long goddamn said to Wade Barrett, like Corey Graves said, somebody was fighting the Undertaker tonight. But sadly, that was not the fucking case. But you know what was the case? We had the WWE draft. I was about to say the New York City draft. I don't know why. Maybe it's because the NFL draft is happening tonight as well. But fuck football anyway. We here for the WWE draft of 2024. And you know, some people say it's underwhelming. Some people say it was good. Let's get to it and see what you think, because it has some hits and some people didn't miss. Unless they get the L tonight. But stories got progressed. We have the RKO show next week. Watkins has been heard from WWE. Maybe are they watching us? Maybe have they been hearing us? Who the hell knows? The Final Testament. I don't know what they're doing. Are they still in NXT? Are they in WWE? Are they in the main roster? Because they just keep bringing chaos wherever the fuck they want to go. And we having a triple threat. A lot of triple threat be happening out of the blue. Because, you know, some people just don't give a fuck what's going on. And I just feel bad for Cedric Alexander. My man just being tossed around like he's a fodder. Just like our boy Carmen Grimes. Or now Trevor Lee. Best of luck to your endeavor. But without the endeavors, let's get to the fucking show and see if it's good, if it's bad. Continue watching us on YouTube and Twitch. Gladly appreciate it, because we here for Weebs of the Ring, episode 24.
That's right. Episode 24 is live, because with anime in their souls and thoughts of wrestling out of control, we are a trio of weebs who love the entertainment of professional wrestling. So allow us to be the voices inside of your head as we go through the wrestling event of the evening, give our thoughts and predictions of what's to come, and provide an experience inclusive to all you nerds out there. So grab your steel chair, yell for the table, especially since Devon was here on the show, and get put through an experience unlike any other. Brought to you by AniMa Studio, this is the Weebs of the Ring podcast. And tonight we have our three lovely panel of hosts to give you the rundown of Smackdown. First and foremost, going one-on-one with The Undertaker is, of course, your world champion himself, Watkins. Being drafted in the first round of the draft is Legendy Vast. Yeet. And he is him calling out the top champion. We have dropped this box. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, chat, children of all ages, hopefully you had a great week. Very busy on my end and very busy on a lot of people's ends. I think we can all agree a bit of a tired week for us, ending April here and getting into May as the weather gets warmer and warmer for us. But hey, we had some nice wrestling going on tonight. We had our first night of the draft, and it was all right night. But before we get into Smackdown, I want to talk to my host real quick. Guys, how you doing tonight? How's everything going on?
We're doing fucking good.
I'm doing pretty good. I'm a little upset. I talked about this with the guys before we started the stream, because if you guys happen to check out my channel, Drop This Box, which I started putting out content, I've been pretty consistent with it. And I'm having a little issues because I'm not sure if you guys can hear it on here. I'm hoping not, but in my OBS, I'm having a little bit trouble with my mic because it's acting a little funny. So that's the only thing I'm a little upset about. But like, other than that, I'm doing pretty good.
Is a downfall of USB mics. USB mics, after a while, they starts to have their little hiccups. They're not always perfect. And at the end of the day, it depends if you have them in a 2-point or 3-point USB port. That also makes a difference when it comes to these type of mics. So at the end of the day, man, XR cables is the wave, and the technology is what we're up and coming at the end of the day. But man, the new the WWE draft, round 1, night 1, it's a wrap. It's a close. Curious to see how the rest is gonna continue. It's gonna be curious to see how night 2 of the WWE draft on Monday Night Raw. So it's gonna be fun and see how the growth of this type of content continues. Because supposedly May 6th is where everything becomes official. And people are so fucking impatient on the timeline. Like, yo, the timeline, when these type of things happen, it's just funny to see all the type of impatient motherfuckers are out there saying this is boring. What the fuck? Like, where is the new era? Like, Triple H unbooking sucks, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, y'all just love to complain. Y'all are impatient. Y'all just want chaos. Y'all just want just straight up blood on the TV, the PG era ended. Like, how about just wait for it to be cooking? Like, let it simmer. Like, I saw even I'm not gonna give names. I just stupid people online just saying like, hey, The Rock is now there week to week. It's not hitting no more. Well, I'm like, hey, you must be watching the other company that is barely selling out shows, because it seems like they have millions of people watching just because of a broken neck dude. But instead, when you watch the main show of a big company of WWE, they're selling tickets, they're traveling to different countries, announcing stuff ahead of time, big stars appearing. I don't know. It feels like other companies are succeeding where others are failing. I don't know.
Well, and I mean that's the thing. So like, and I know I've been saying this for a few weeks now, ever since Mania kind of ended, but we're just in that weird period where it's like we're transitioning into like the new phase, the new stories and all that. Like we're still wrapping up a couple things. It's almost like I know I'm always gonna tie things back into One Piece, but just bear with me as I keep tying it back to that god awful series, according to some people. But anyways, it's like when an arc of One Piece ends, and it's like, okay, you have the big party, you have the big celebration, you have your big Monday Night Raw after Mania, you have your Smackdown after Mania.
That's where I am right now.
Exactly.
I'm in the start of Whole Cake Island where Luffy and the crew are out of food, and they have to eat a spoiled fish that is in poison. And they're about to meet the German 66 of the brothers of Sanji and everything. So it's like me, it's like, yo, can we speed this? Come on, let's get to it. My girl's enjoying it, but she's just a regular casual fan. She enjoys One Piece. Me, I've already seen this for like the 6th, 8th time, so I'm just here for the ride. So I get it. We're right in the start of the new arc, but people are just fucking impatient.
Exactly, and I do get some of the criticisms, kind of especially for tonight, because like I do get it. Things did kind of feel slow. It did kind of feel just kind of like we were just plodding along a little bit, but I wouldn't go so far as being like, oh, Triple H isn't cooking. Blah, blah. Like I wouldn't go that far. I mean, again, a slow night is a slow night.
Yeah, like I can understand where they're coming from, because jumping into this thing, obviously, we know that this draft this year is completely being run by Triple H. Last year, it was partly being done by Triple H, and it was partially being done by Vince McMahon. So I can understand why people had high expectations jumping into this. But I think why some people are overwhelmed, it's not about like people like tearing the whole thing apart. The main reason why some people are overwhelmed is because a lot of the same people that we saw tonight was just drafted to the same brand. And it makes sense when it comes to ongoing storylines, like of AJ Styles and Cody Rhodes. You could easily extend that feud past Backlash, because including this week and next week, they only have 2-week build-up with their feud. They can easily extend that further, and since they're both on the same brand, you can make that into an even bigger story. And then when Bianca and Jade against the Kabuki Warriors, since Jade more than likely is going to be drafted to SmackDown on Monday, that's an ongoing storyline that makes sense. So pretty much what I'm trying to say, with the ongoing storyline, when you have all these different superstars being drafted to the same brand, that makes sense. It's just with other people that were drafted to the same brand that don't really have anything going on with them, like LA Knight, for example. I'll use him. You could have easily thrown him on Monday Night Raw, because it would be a new playing field for him. He would have new people face off against. I mean, Sami Zayn has the IC title now. That's a big prize. It's almost like a world championship at this point. So if you're not Damian Priest with the world title, you can easily go after the IC title because the IC title feels just as important as the WWE title. So if you have him going on there, feuding with Sami Zayn or feuding with Damian Priest, a good callback to that, honestly, if they really wanted to, since Damian Priest is champion right now, you could have easily had LA Knight versus Damian Priest at Money in the Bank in Canada, considering that Priest is the very reason why Knight lost his opportunity at Money in the Bank. So there's history, there's story there. You could have easily done something with that. That was like the one person that I had in mind where I was like, okay, he concluded stuff with Styles. Styles is moving on to AJ. He's not really focusing on LA Knight. I kind of felt like LA Knight needed a different playing field, especially since he practically did everything he could on SmackDown. And you also have Raw going on to Netflix next year. And who wouldn't want to see like an uncensored LA Knight and an uncensored CM Punk inside the ring with each other? Like that's just honestly
For me, honestly,
a classic segment.
I know that we're gonna talk about this in our main story of the night and everything, but I'm not stressed when that's 8 months away still. Things could change. People could be switched later in the future. So when it comes to the right now, what draft happened with today and Monday, I'm not stressing what could be when we're not even there yet. So at the moment, like, yes, like the what if LA this, I'm like, okay, I know business moves wise could still be changed by the next 8 months where they could just swap any random person out just because they can. Or do like a trade like Jey Uso and KO did. Those things could still happen in the next 8 months by then.
No, I completely understand that. It's just looking at the different outcomes you could have got. That's why we have the topic of discussion. That's why we have this podcast, because you have a different view from me. I have a different view from you. Watkins has a different view from me and you. It's all about voicing on how we feel at the time. Am I stressed that LA Knight didn't go to Raw? No. It's just fun to speak about the possibilities of what could have happened. Could things change? Have we had things happened in the past where they had trades and such? Yes. But it's just looking at the kind of environment certain people could have had. Because when you think of a draft, your initial thought is, okay, we're obviously going to still have those key players there with those ongoing storylines like the people that I talked about. But also you're going to have new faces there. Like Carmelo Hayes is a great example. And that was probably my favorite part of the show, because Carmelo Hayes has a huge future in WWE. Like, when Cody's gone, when Seth's gone, when all these other people are gone, when it comes to the top players in the main event, Carmelo, Braun, when Trick gets called up, when Lexis King comes up, when Obafemi comes up, when all of these people down in NXT eventually come up and they join Melo and Braun, that's your future of WWE. That, like, when I have kids, they're going to be saying, Dad, look at this awesome Carmelo match. Look at this awesome Braun match. That's the future of the company right there. So seeing Carmelo in this new light and also having him and Cody, that's a great showcase, because it's showing, okay, Triple H sees a lot in Carmelo Hayes, just like Shawn did. It was probably heartbreaking for Shawn to let Melo go because that's one of his boys. But having Carmelo go up to the main roster, you know, that's big for him. And having a match with Cody Rhodes, that's huge, because that showcases how much you see in him. That's an awesome way to say, okay, this guy right here is going to be a key factor in many things. And since he's on SmackDown, maybe he's not going to go for the main title right away. He'll eventually get there. He'll win it. He'll win a Royal Rumble. He'll main event 2 to 3 to 10 Manias in the future. We'll eventually get there. But you have somebody like Logan Paul there that he could feud with. That would be pretty awesome. Or other people in there that he could potentially butt heads with. Like, imagine, because we still have Carmelo as like that heelish figure right now. Imagine like LA and Carmelo button heads. Who wouldn't want to see that? Like, yes, it's like, that's the thing. It's like, speaking of possibilities, what could happen if other people, if a certain person went to another brand, that would have been awesome. but you also got to look at
Mhm.
other people that came over. But the main issue that people have is just the same people are here. But you also
Yeah.
got to look at this is a 2-hour show compared to a 3-hour show that has loads of more people, and there's 6 rounds there.
hmm
So
And that's the thing. It's like, because that's the thing. It's just like right now in this moment, nothing's really changed much. Like we've
Yeah.
had, and I see, we're getting a few updates here too from
Yeah.
our draft pool as well.
Yeah.
Because it looks like we're doing the same thing we did with the last draft, which is okay. Some of the ones that didn't get drafted on TV, we're getting announced on social media, and yeah, it looks like things look to be kind of shaking up just a little bit more, but yeah, right now it seems very, very odd that it's not as shaken up as it used to be. And kind of there was a point you made too with like ongoing stories and all that, because I remember like we would have drafts and still have like a backlash, but it would be like, okay, let's say AJ got drafted to Raw. Well, since the title has to stay on SmackDown, that kind of tells you the result of that match.
yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah.
like WWE did that so much in previous drafts. So at
Yeah.
least that's a breath where we're getting, okay, these title contenders for this upcoming pay-per-view, they're still on that show. Okay, fine. But then like I think the key thing here too, besides like the whole Monday thing, is that they specified the whole May 6th being the
Mhm.
locked day for the draft picks, because like kind of like what Vash was saying too, is it's like we could have trades going on, there could be any number of things that could happen. I mean, hell, what if, for example, I'll just throw this idea, I don't think it's going to happen, but like let's just say Bailey loses her title. So technically, since like the women's title is a SmackDown title, and she was protected from that title. Now, like let's say Naomi won that match. So now Naomi, even though she was drafted to SmackDown, she's still the lock for SmackDown. But like Bailey technically never was drafted, so it's like, what does she do? Does she just get drafted to Raw, SmackDown? Like, what happens with that? So like that adds just another wrinkle to it, and that's just something we'll have to talk about next week, when all that happens, or on the May 6th episode of Raw when everything's locked in, and then you'll probably start seeing a storm of like, hey, what the hell are we doing? Or, hey, this is going to be awesome. This is going to be great. But let's actually talk about some of these drafts that we got. So we had
Yes.
a pool of talent tonight to get drafted. Some of them haven't been drafted yet, but again, as we get updates, we'll update and all that, and maybe make a quick comment or two about them. But let's start with our Raw picks. So our Raw picks from tonight. First of all, the first
It's just the word
Raw
yeet.
pick,
It's just the word yeet.
just the word yeet, because our boy Jey Uso is on Raw, sticking on Raw. Good on you, as you should be. You've been doing good work there on Raw. And plus, again, the whole thing with the ongoing story, him, Damian Priest, anything can happen with that. Seth Rollins, that makes sense too, because again, not Bailey, Becky is still on Raw. She's the champion. Cool, whatever. Braun Breaker moving to Raw. Liv Morgan staying on Raw. Ricochet staying on Raw. Sheamus staying on Raw. Alpha Academy staying on Raw. Kiana James from NXT got called up, so that's awesome. And then outside of SmackDown, we got Shayna and Zoe staying on Raw. Ivar staying on Raw. And then Alba Fire and Isla Dawn moving to Raw. So, guys, how are we feeling about these Raw picks right now? Like, anything that kind of sticks out to you, or is it just all samey to you? But how are we feeling about this first
for the Raw picks,
draft for Raw?
look, I'm gonna just state out here, I don't give a flying fuck of the timeline saying that this draft was whack or boring, because y'all need to shove it up your ass and stop being contempt that you're expecting some major changes. Like we said earlier, these changes are literally these companies or shows around Smack that keeping who they want to keep on such show. They have to keep who they want to have. Bianca was the first one. They want Bianca to be on SmackDown. She brings numbers, she brings fans, and she is that girl. She is the EST. We have LA Knight. We have these other players doing what they need to do in SmackDown and Raw. Some people got transferred. Braun Breaker went to Raw. Sucks that our boy Baron Corbin got moved. The Wolf Dogs is disbanded now. The Wolf Dogs are not going to continue. And I'm sad about that. Because I actually want to see more of the comedy type of dynamic. So that's not going to happen no more. But for this results of Raw right now, I like it. The Kiana James kind of shocked me because I haven't been consistent with NXT for the past year. I've been hearing it, like you see, here and there. I just started watching recently more consistently because after WrestleMania. But to see Kiana James get transferred, I'm like, okay, she must have been doing a lot, or she must have done enough to feel like she can't do no more. But I don't ever recall her getting the NXT Women's title. So it's like, wait, so you're going to bring her up without the title or without the experience? Like, all right, cool. But then I'm like, yo, wouldn't this have been the perfect time for her to at least get the NXT Women's Mid-Card title, the NXT North American title? But hey, if Shawn Michaels believes this is the right move, if that video promo package they posted on SmackDown saying that she is the businesswoman, she is in the ring, she knows what to do, alright, girl, you better prove it and show us what's up on Raw. Because right now, Raw is going to be on Netflix and everything. So you better be what it is, like Tiffany, these other girls that have gone from NXT to the main roster, and do what you need to do. If not, you're going to look bad on your NXT, and you're gonna look bad on Shawn. So best of luck for you on that. For Shayna and Zoe and them, I'm okay with them staying. With Sheamus moving from SmackDown to Raw was interesting. So I'm curious to see if he's finally gonna go for the IC title sometime this year. That's my assumption since he's staying on Raw, since he's, most likely gonna be retiring in the next couple of years. So this would be a perfect time for her to get the IC title and become that Grand Slam for once, and finally, what's his face? Michael Cole has been saying that since Sheamus came back on his 2 nights. He said, hey, Sheamus, I still have never won the IC title. I'm like, okay. They're going to definitely plan something for that for the next couple months. So that is for sure. Curious that they announced Alpha Academy as one, even knowing what happened on Monday. So Alpha Academy still never has disbanded or never kind of betrayed Chad or was upset. So it's really curious to see how they still put them as a package with Maxine and everything. With Seth Rollins, it's a given that he's there, but we're still not going to see him in action for the next 2 to 8 months. So at the end of the day, cool for Seth, but we're not going to see you. So, I don't know, like, when I heard that news, I was like, okay. I'm like, I'm not going to see him for another 2 to 8 months. I'm like, I was not faded by it. I was not mad about it. I was not happy about it. I was like, yay, sad.
To tell you the secret behind that, it's because Becky's there.
Yeah.
Yep.
The same thing.
That's mainly when it factors, because
same thing,
actually smart.
The same thing I knew about Andre. Same thing that if Andre got moved to SmackDown, most likely because Charlotte is staying on SmackDown for that case.
Yeah.
So, once he got moved,
She fits that brand.
Yeah, so I kind of figured that once Andre got his word, I'm like, okay, makes sense. But once we talk about SmackDown, in a few seconds, I agree with what Watkins said in our chat. Because please stay out of that mess right now. But talking about Raw picks alone, I'm happy for Yi. I'm happy for Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker is already curious in one, but I think Dropsetter behind scenes earlier, when you have Carmelo and Braun Breaker, the two people that has made NXT what it is for the past 3 years and where it is now, I'm happy that them two are in different brands, and they could feud again in the next few years. I'm okay with that. There's no new feud that needs to happen. They could bring it back in a few years because Braun Breaker coming ahead are the future. So for Braun Breaker, I'm good.
Right. All right.
So
what about you, Drop?
My overall thoughts on that is with Jey Uso, it made sense, as I spoke about earlier, because he has that ongoing feud with Priest, and with Seth Rollins, it makes sense because Becky's there, and they normally like keeping the couples together when they're traveling and stuff like that. And it's easier for them too because they always have their daughter with them when they travel. So them being in the same area at once, just in case one has a promo or one has a match, they could both take turns watching the child or whatever they end up doing. And with Braun Breaker, as I spoke about earlier, keeping him and Mello on different shows makes sense because you want to make sure you balance it out, which I'll get into because I do want to speak about this, and I hope we see that more on Monday. Liv Morgan makes sense. You got to keep her there because she's eventually going to have a match with Becky at some PLE for their world title, and also you got to keep her there for whenever Rhea comes back. Ricochet makes sense. He has something ongoing with the Judgment Day right now. Sheamus, the whole story of winning the IC title. As soon as I found out that Sheamus was returning and he was on Raw, it was pretty much set in stone that he was going to be there because that is his mission, that is his goal. That's why he's having these matches of all these different individuals. So eventually, once we get that match, we can finally see, Sheamus reach that milestone and finally get the IC title. So that makes sense. Alpha Academy. One thing I do want to say about this, and I noticed other people made content on and spoke their views on it as well. Where does NXT factor into this? Because you have the whole thing where they said NXT also takes part in the draft, not talking about just overall picks where you could choose from their brand and bring it up. They also said that they can take people from the main roster and bring them to NXT. We didn't see anything like that factored in tonight, which is what caught me off guard, unless we see it Monday, which we still have, a couple days to see that. But I'm honestly surprised we didn't see anything like that because I feel like that would be the perfect opportunity to have Otis and Maxine and Taizawa go down to NXT so you could rebuild the tag division over there since they're losing some key players over there. You could easily align Chad with the Creed brothers because I feel like that's the direction they're going.
Mm-hmm.
Because because Chad on Monday was already pretty much saying, I don't need you anymore. And they're eventually not going to want to associate with him because he's being a total asshole to them. So I'm kind of surprised why they didn't get sent down to NXT or something like that, or at least the very minimum Smackdown, just to be away from Gable, because I just feel like the direction that they're going down with Gable is needed for quite some time, and I feel like if you just keep Otis and everyone out of the way, and you could have Chad with the Creed brothers, that would have been a lot better for them.
The only reason I don't think they did that is because to set up the build is let the Alpha Academy themselves stand up against Chad. So I don't think they want to announce it that way, like to
that makes sense. That makes sense. And then Kiana James, my only issue with this is not with her, it's how she's booked. Because one of my main issues when it comes to people getting called up in NXT, and I'm not worried about Mello or Braun because they're going to be fine. It's Mello and Braun.
And also, stop carrying that damn bag. I don't get I get the bag is her style.
That's just part of her gimmick.
Yeah, no, it's her prop. It's just weird. I don't know. It just throws me off like whenever I see it.
My main issue with her being called up, like I said, it's not her. I just don't want her getting lost in the shuffle.
Yeah,
because we see all these different kinds of people.
But Fire and Asladon is one of them.
Yeah, you have people like that get called up on the main roster and they're not utilized. They have like a match 1 week and then you don't see them for
another
the next
6 months,
month or two. Like I don't want this to be another Cameron Grimes situation where he had a lot of potential because he did. Him and LA Knight had a great feud back in NXT. They even feuded over the $1 Million Championship, and Ted DiBiase was involved. Oh. Cameron Grimes had a lot of potential. There was so many things you could have done with that character if you decided to push him a little bit more. With Kiana James, she has that potential. She can be a top heel because that's what she is, and that's what she's going to, start the show by once everything comes together on May 6th, and she's competing on Raw every week and starting all these feuds. So it's like, I don't want her getting lost in the shuffle because I don't want this being one of those things where it's like, okay, we got Liv Morgan right here paying attention to, and we got Becky Lynch we're paying attention to, and then when Rhea comes back, we're paying attention to her.
We need that mid-card woman title on the main roster.
See, that's what they need to do. Then I wouldn't be worried.
Even Undertaker said on his podcast this past week, and that was a news report. Come on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't want Kiana to get lost in the shuffle. That's my main concern. Because Shayna Baszler, I'm going to use her as an example here. Shayna Baszler could be where Becky is and Rhea is and Nia was.
She
on
should
Raw.
be.
Exactly. She should be at that level right now
Like-
because that's how she built her. That's how she was built in NXT.
Mm-hmm.
She would that's why I don't want Kiana to be in a similar situation like that where she's lost in the shuffle and she can't
Yeah.
keep up with these other people because after a while, like once you don't find your whole groove of what you're doing, people aren't going to care. Will we care? Yes, because this is the whole reason why we have this podcast. We're speaking our thoughts and opinions on how we feel about things going on in WWE. Obviously, we care, but talking from a casual audience's perspective, because that's mainly what you see when you watch the shows, you got to give them something to work with.
Exactly. And like that's what I'm like really okay, I have two things to add on to like everything you guys have said. The first thing is about Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. Like,
Yeah.
I want them to do more because their characters are really good, but also I want them to get more exposure and get more like practice on TV, so that way they can get better and get to a certain level. But the other thing I do want to point out though, and it does have to deal with Kiana James. I do like how they had just a short video package ready. And how Corey Graves, like, basically how he worded it, just like, for those who aren't familiar with Kiana James, here's a simple video package. And that video package showed you everything that she was about, you know? Yeah, you didn't see a lot of her in-ring stuff, but you saw enough of the character of the person to be like, okay, this is kind of what she's about, all right? You know, I mean, again, I don't really watch NXT regularly, but I didn't really know she was a heel. I mean, I just thought she was just, like, some lady who was just like a businesswoman, but no, apparently if she's a heel, all right, that has a lot of fun avenues to go down. But I do appreciate that because like it used to be back in the past, you know, an NXT call up would be called up and it's just like, hey, look, it's Braun Breaker. Okay, who's Braun Breaker? It's Braun Breaker. Don't you know Braun Breaker? It's like, well, no, I don't really watch NXT. What's he about? Oh, you don't need to worry about that. It's Braun Breaker. Like, I'm just glad that they at least did that for the casual fans and kind of help pushing that along. But yeah, so those were the Monday Night Raw picks. But let's look at our SmackDown picks, and we started off the night with Bianca Belair. Not only was she the first pick for SmackDown, she was the first pick overall, so that's huge for Bianca's part. But after her, there was Carmelo Hayes. Awesome to see him calling out Cody Rhodes, and we'll talk about his match with Cody later on. We had Randy Orton, who's staying on SmackDown. Nia Jax coming to SmackDown. LA Knight, again, staying on SmackDown. Bloodline, staying on SmackDown.
Wait, Solo Tonga
specifically,
and Paul Heyman. No Jimmy Uso.
Well, and also Roman pulled himself out of the draft too, but
So
we'll touch base on that.
Well, Jimmy got kicked out. That's probably why.
Yeah, and he's also injured, so I think they took him out of the pools anyway.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so AJ staying on SmackDown, good. Stay at the house that you built. Thank you. And Andrade's moving to SmackDown. I'll make my note. You know what? No, I'm going to make it right here. Do not. I repeat. WWE. You have proven that you listen to this podcast for the whole RKO thing. So thank you for that. So as you are listening to this podcast, I need you guys to listen. Do not, and I repeat, do not put Andrade with the LWO. Move the LWO to Raw. Separate them from Legado, because I'm tired of that.
Look.
I don't know about you guys.
If
I
they
don't know about
do-
you guys, but I am tired. I am tired of seeing just any amalgamation of the two teams. They are done. We are over it. I already hate the Philadelphia Eagles because of WrestleMania. I already despise Rey Mysterio right now. Like, your character is very lacking, sir. It's very lacking, and like, I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of it because anything that is involved with these two groups, anything that is involved with this storyline and this feud, has just been boring. It's been boring. It's been just plodding along. Nothing's happening. We finally got the reveal of Carlito, which we'll talk about here in a little bit too. But it's just like, oh, I am just tired of it. Do not have if you have anything, if anything from Andrade and LWO come out, just at least let it be him and Zelina teaming up again, because that is at least something that is worthwhile. That is something that is that is good TV right there. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, well, the internet exists and you can look it up because they are great together. But that's just my little 2 cents. That's my big negative thing. It's just like I'm tired of the LWO stuff. I'm tired of it. Just let's move on, please.
Look, when it comes to first announce the rest of the people.
Oh yeah. So those are all the ones that were on TV, but on social media, hey, look, Baron Corbin's back on the main roster, so he's on SmackDown. Awesome there. Cedric Alexander and Ashante the Adonis are on SmackDown, so hopefully we're gonna push them a little bit too, because they're a team. We had the one
starting
vignette.
to think WWE's trying to make that their swerve.
I kind of hope so, but I hope they actually do something, but we'll have to wait and find out with that. And of course the OC, Michin, Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson staying on SmackDown, wondering if they're gonna do something with AJ. I mean, whether it's a feud with him or maybe they actually get their shit together and actually become a unit. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see with that one. But I mean, I'm cool with this SmackDown roster. Again, a lot of people that I like, and especially, seeing more of Carmelo Hayes. Yes, please, especially after tonight. But yeah, just kind of the same beats as always. Just look, I want more for some of these people. So
for Bianca, love it, excited. Love her in SmackDown. She is the EST. She is the face of the woman roster right now. Even though Bayley is the champion. She's always she has a streak. She has this going on. Carmelo Hayes, my man is him. He shoots. Yo, people were mad on the timeline too that he shot his shot against fucking Cody Rhodes, and people don't understand. He didn't shoot his shot for the title. He shot his shot for him one-on-one. You stupid for them. I'm really on a rant today because I'm just angry about.
I mean, here's the thing.
Wait, hold on.
You see what you did? You see what you did, Twitter? You made Vash angry. How could you make Vash angry? He's a good boy.
I know. We're all gonna talk about Carmelo Hayes, so I'm just giving my little clip nits on each person. Randy, of course, man. That's fucking exciting because Drop said on Twitter earlier today. Earlier tonight, we're gonna definitely get Randy versus Cody later this year, so that's gonna be fucking exciting. I'm thrilled for that. Nia Jax is one that surprised me, but it's information that I found out behind the scenes that Nia Jax had a feud with Bayley, so I didn't know that. Makes sense why Nia Jax did what she did, but we'll talk about that later tonight. We got LA Knight, which makes sense. For him to continue his SmackDown for the U.S. title, because we did have this theory earlier, I think, for the past 10 episodes of the Weebs of the Ring. We have said, talking about the past 10 of SmackDown, because those are the most, the ones we have had the conversation about. LA Knight going for the U.S. title. So that's something that we've been hammering on this theory. Maybe when he goes in August in Cleveland, that's something that could go down the line. So if he gets that title, yay. Bloodline. Fuck them. AJ Styles, I love it. He is the phenomenal one, and he has a match next week for Backlash. I feel like Walker's just enjoying me tonight. He's like, I don't know what is match from tonight, but I'm enjoying him. 100. Like Walker said, please do not have a feud with the LWO. Get out of that toxic relationship. Hey, my man Andre, if you got to disown your Spanish heritage just for the next couple of months or 8 months just from SmackDown, hey, I support this, my guy. LWO right now is having issues. They're having toxic issues. People are backstabbing. It's hard to question now. People used to think, wait, was Ray the problem? Now it's because, Is it a question now or is it a statement? Because it seems like everyone is
Yeah.
just kind of Batista, Dominic, Santos, Carlitos. It's like, Carlitos, what did Ray do to you? What the fuck did I was
I want to know what Batista did.
I was about to call him I'm drawing blank on his
I
name.
think it was like the
It's not
world
Sin Cara.
title or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dragon Lee.
Thank you.
Dragon Lee?
I was blanking on his name
Yeah.
for a second. Dragon Lee.
Yeah,
What the
it's all
fuck did Carlitos do to you? Like my girl Electra, she found a 4K footage that was being thrown against the wall. I know we're gonna break that down in a bit, but still, this girl found
Lost tapes.
like the lost tapes. Better footage than some other company that, just choke a guy. Just choke a guy. Like, not big a deal, but hey. Barry Corbin,
Look,
no wolf dogs. That's sad. Like Watkins said, Cedric Alexander and Ashante the Adonis, man. Please don't treat them like fodder characters because I like Cedric. You can't really do much with them right now, but hopefully you build up. Maybe you can make them as a tag team partners. Build your tag team division with actual players so you can actually have an actual tag team division now that you have them being built up. The OC. Just fucking do something with them, man. We got our girl Mitch in here doing something. We got Luke Gallows and Kurt Anderson going to NXT and then coming back. I don't know what the hell y'all doing with them. Do you know what you're doing with them, WWE? I'm speaking to you, Triple H, Les Vec. Do you know what the fuck you're doing with them? If not, I don't know. Find somebody else that does. Other than that, those are my quick thoughts on this beautiful SmackDown roster that we're declaring the people on who to keep. Monday, guys, we're going to actually see a bit of chaos. Because, understand? It's a 3-hour show compared to 2-hour show, guys. You got to understand that. How about you, Drop?
Monday's probably going to be a lot more meatier, too. Because you got 6 rounds, and then you got a truckload of people there. But I didn't mean to cut you off, but I'll get into why I was about to add on to what you said earlier. Bianca makes sense. Ongoing storyline. One of the top female superstars
Exactly.
in the WWE roster, period. Carmelo Hayes, big future for him. As I spoke about earlier, keeping him and Braun in separate shows makes the most sense. Randy Orton, I was really happy about this because that Cody and Randy feud has been brewing ever since Cody came back to the company. So the fact that Cody has the WWE title and you could see Randy Orton have a heel turn, which has been long time coming,
but
that's going to be a very
would he be a heel that's loved by fans and would it still work? Because how other love superstars like Edge, when Edge was in Judgment Day, fans were still hyping him up when he was supposed to be a heel. So it tried to work. Randy could still be a heel, but he was still loved by fans. He was hated by fans back then. Now it's like he's like a legend. He's like a future Hall of Famer now.
Here's the thing, like Triple H says, people are gonna love Randy regardless. So one of the things that people love about Randy the most is
the crazy side,
because Randy becomes a monstrous heel, and that's probably like the best iteration of Randy when he's ruthless, when he doesn't give a fuck, when he's doing whatever he wants. That's the side of Randy that a lot of people love, and I have heels that I like. I still cheer them. So Randy's still going to be loved by the audience regardless, but if you're going into a feud between Cody and Randy, you can't just be friendly competition. You got to have that edgy Randy Orton. Like, you want to talk about that 2009 Randy Orton. You want to talk about that Randy Orton where he was feuding with Triple H, and he kicked everybody in the McMahon family, like, right in the skull. He kicked Stephanie. He gave an RKO to Stephanie. He gave an RKO to Shane. He gave an RKO to Linda. He gave an RKO to Vince. He literally tied Triple H to the ring post as he looked dead in Triple H's eye, and he gave a kiss right on Stephanie's lips and just looked at him and just slithered away. Yep. That's why that whole feud of Randy and Triple H was so great. And that's why I was bringing it up before when you had that whole thing of LA Knight and AJ. Because Triple H just got so fed up with Randy Orton, with all that messed up shit that he was doing. He broke inside of his house. He was beating the fuck out of him. And he destroyed a whole bunch of glasses, mirrors. He was throwing tables and stuff like that. It's just because Randy's just so twisted in the head. Like you even kind of saw at WrestleMania that old side of Randy where
Hmm.
I believe he had Logan set up where he was about to do the punt kick.
Yeah.
Randy has not done that punt kick in years. And when
Yeah.
you see like hypothetically him do that on Cody, don't be surprised because that's how ruthless Randy can get. When Randy's heel, he does not give a shit. So Randy being on the same brand as Cody is awesome. It's a money match. WrestleMania worthy match in my opinion. The only place you could really do it is at a WrestleMania or SummerSlam because
I was just
those
gonna
two
say
just have so much.
SummerSlam.
Yeah,
Yep.
because those two just have so much history going back to legacy. Looking at the student and the mentor, you could tell a huge story with that. That could be one of Cody's best feuds. That's what a lot of people are saying. This could be Cody's best feuds because of the rich story between him and Randy. Because Randy put him under his wing.
Oh yeah.
That's why people are so excited to see this. So that's
Well, like
I'm ecstatic about that.
one of the first feuds Cody had coming into WWE was Randy Orton.
Yep.
Like it was Randy Orton, like basically beating up his dad. Like he punt kicked. I think he punt kicked him.
Yeah.
I don't
he
remember.
Kick Dusty.
Yeah, yeah. So like there was like Cody's first feud in WWE was Randy Orton. So like there is a huge history even beyond legacy. And the thing with Randy too, like he is such a good heel that even though he's getting like massive cheers now, he can turn those into boos in an instant.
Oh yeah.
Very easily.
And we haven't seen it in a long time, so it would be a nice
Yeah.
change once we get to that point. After obviously his own bloodline, which I have a interesting thing to bring up because with Nia Jax here, it actually makes things interesting for two reasons. The first reason is because she has history with Bailey, just like how she has history
The
with
bloodline.
Becky and Charlotte. Yeah, that's what I was getting at.
Ah,
But
I
talking
see your
about the
vision. I
work-
see your vision.
but-
I just put it together while I was like,
But
ah.
talking about like the woman's side of things, she's been with Bailey ever since the original Black and Gold days, just as long as with Becky and Sasha when she was around, and Charlotte as well. So she has so much history with Bailey. You want to go look back at the feuds that her and Bailey had? Go back and look at it. It's there. So it makes sense how she's entered here because she's done everything she did in Raw. So it's nice to give her a new playing field so she can go out there and she could be that roadblock for Bailey. Because I'm pretty sure after Bailey's all settled and done with Naomi and Tiffany, Nia Jax is going to be the next one in the path. And obviously I can't see Bailey dropping the title to her, but that's going to be a big roadblock. And I would definitely love to see a Bailey to Bailey off of the top rope again because I just loved when because I didn't expect Bailey to do it all those years ago. Like, Bailey pretty much just ran up to the top rope when Nia Jax was there, and she could easily do that. Like when Nia sets up her finisher and she just like catches her off guard, and then she just runs up there, she grabs her, and she does that avalanche Bailey to belly onto the ring. You know how much of a pop you would get out of that?
Oh, it'd be sick, dude.
There's just so much story you can tell with those two. And then going back to the second thing, since Solo is making his own bloodline, who says it's only limited to males?
Exactly.
Because you had The Rock show the family tree of the bloodline, and Nia Jax is listed there.
And plus Naomi as well.
Yeah, because she's married to Jimmy, which included her a part of that. Which I don't think Naomi is gonna be a part of that. I think since it's like a heel faction, I could see Nia being a part of that because, you know, Bloodline's gonna probably go after people that have the WWE title. Cody's the top champion of the brand. Do I want to see that now? No. Give it a break for some time. But you have other people that they want to feud with. You got that. But also, what about the women's side of things? What if you want to control that vision too? Instead of the men's division, what if you want to control the women's division? Then you can get Nia involved in that. And that's a perfect thing to factor in because then you can... Because Nia pretty much already reinvented her character. She's a lot better. A lot of people praise her. You don't see all that hate that she used to get. She's so putting her and adding her into the bloodline story. So think about it like this: you got Sola and Tama Tonga right now. Then you're gonna have Jacob Fatu. You could add a Nia Jackson there, and whoever else you want to do down the line. That would be a very interesting direction to take Nia Jax, because if you want to extend this bloodline story and you want to add more people to it that are family, that would be a perfect thing to include her in, because it would be different, because we never really see Nia Jax used like that. She's always been like this pillar that whoever she's feuding with, they had to get over. Like with Rhea, she was a pillar for her. With Becky, she was a pillar for her. But if utilizing Nia in a different way that we haven't seen, it'd be interesting. It'd be a new take on her character.
I see that vision of yours because this will also improve. Like, she already has improved her mic skills, and lately her promos has been more dominant, more slow. She has that more acquired taste of how Solo has been doing his mic work as well. I know we're gonna talk about more about the Bloodline story later. So, and also even during the Hall of Fame, when Roman came out, she even acknowledged him as well. So she also put the the ones up. So I believe, I forgot who sat next to her, was I think it was Santos. He look at her like, really? Gonna put it down once here?
Why?
So it makes sense. I agree. I see the vision. I didn't even pop that in, so I see the vision. I love it. I'm interested. I'm invested. Let's go.
Yeah.
And if LA Knight, like I mentioned, would it be cool for him to have new scenery? Yes, but at the same time, because the only reason why I brought it up earlier is because it's just always fun to speculate of what could happen. Because it's almost like you have a YouTube channel. You want to make, let's say like you're like watching a movie with like, what if Darth Vader didn't reveal his identity to Luke Skywalker? What would have happened? You could make a whole video on that, explaining like what could have happened if that said reveal, or just any big reveal.
Oh, yeah, of course, but the what
in
if
a movie or a TV show,
it's
just
hard
what if
when
factor.
it's 8 months away from the Netflix deal, when it still doesn't hit in January.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like when LA Knight or when other like me, I would love Cody to be on Raw. I would love to see Cody on fucking Raw on Netflix every Monday. But I'm more of the patient person. I like to see how things progress. So it's more like, okay, cool. Right now, draft happened. I see the timeline. I understand Drop's idea, his perspective on it. But me, I'm more like, you know what? We have 6 more to 8 months. Let's see where things go. Let's see where this new era of Triple H leads to. And we could have trades, like the manager. So that's more my process.
No, you're missing what I was trying to say. That's what I was trying to allude to. I'm just talking about the whole what if factor, just a fun conversation thing. Kind of like saying, what if Deku went rogue in My Hero Academia? What could the story lead to there? It's just a topic of conversation. I'm not worried what's going to happen 6 to 8 months from now. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. Because I'm satisfied with what's going on with LA Knight. If he's on SmackDown, that's cool. It's just a what if factor. Like if me and Vash wanted to talk about what if instead of Sephiroth killing a certain character that we know of, I'm not going to speak about it in here, what if it was Cloud that did that instead? Is just looking at the what if factor, the topic of conversation. That's what I was trying to explain to you earlier. I'm not worried about, oh, well, the draft's not done yet, something else could happen, or from 6 to 8 months from now, something else could happen. That's not what I was concerned about. It's just a what if factor. I'm not worried about what LA Knight is, because like I was about to add on to LA Knight, is you got Logan Paul still there, because champions are protected with each brand. He's more than likely going to take on Logan Paul at SummerSlam, and he's probably going to beat him to obtain the United States Championship, because Cody has that title. That's not going to go anywhere for quite some time. So you have LA Knight in this new playing field. All I'm hoping is he has new people to play around with. That means no more Bloodline. That means no more Randy for a while. Do something a little bit different. Take some people from like I mentioned earlier, LA Knight and Carmelo Hayes. That would be really awesome to see, because we never seen anything like that. It's different. Just like Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles that we'll talk about earlier. It's a first time thing. We never seen it before. It's different. So all I'm hoping is that once this draft concludes, LA Knight has more key players. He's getting into more feuds, which it looks like that's going to be the case, but that more than likely, the whole thing of him and Logan's probably going to save until probably like June or July to start building on that. So I'm hoping he can find someone that he hasn't feud with already once this draft concludes. But LA Knight being there is awesome. And then Bloodline, that one I was a little shocked about, only because I thought they were going to get drafted to Raw, just because I thought Nick Aldis was going to get fed up with them. Because that's how the
Yeah.
whole direction it was like
Yeah.
heading down. Because he always spoke about like, I'm tired of you guys doing this. And then with what happened last week when Tama Tonga crashed Kevin Owens' rental car, you would think in your head, I want to get these people out of here. They're messing up my brand. They're causing all these problems. Let Adam Pearce deal with it. That's what I thought. Because then you
See,
have
that-
like, this
that's
whole,
why-
Yeah.
That's why I'm thinking about like the May 6th thing, because it's like,
Yeah.
okay, something could happen, between, like, it could happen on Monday, it could even happen on the Friday before Backlash, and we find out that after Backlash, Bloodline got traded to Raw, like, that's why, like, I'm still waiting for that May 6th.
Yeah.
That's my timeline, because it's like, okay, that's the solidified date.
Yeah.
That is when we're gonna know the rosters. If there's any like differences that's gonna happen, they'll happen throughout the week. But like that is gonna be where things are set, and that's where like
yeah.
I'm gonna be like, okay, how was this draft and all that stuff, But yeah, I was kind of surprised too with that too. But not only just that, but kind of like the story, and we'll dive into it too with like how late they were drafted too.
Mm.
Like
Yeah, 'cause
that's
that's
also
up.
something that's gonna play into all of this.
Mm-hmm.
It is interesting that
Yep.
Paul Heyman got drafted with the Bloodline and not by itself, because Paul Heyman is the wise man for the tribal chief of
Mhm.
Roman Reigns, not the the pretender himself of
Right.
Solo Sikoa. So that was interesting too.
I only think he was added in there because you can't really do anything else to Paul Heyman. Like, you can't just move him with
Right.
someone else. Like, if Braun was still...
Exactly. I'm like, Braun? Hey,
But
he
it's
already
like you
got
can't...
the
But it's
Easter
like
eggs.
until that story concludes, you can't really get rid of Heyman.
Yeah.
Right.
So it makes sense why he was included there, because even with last year's draft and drafts before that, Paul was always included in the package because he's the voice that speaks for them. He's pretty much like, if it wasn't for him, they wouldn't be at this stage of the game.
Oh, hell yeah. Yes.
Right.
Like, if it wasn't for Paul, Roman wouldn't be where he is right now. If it wasn't for Paul, Brock wouldn't be where he was before.
Yeah.
Before he
And when it
became the
came to
beast
other
incarnated.
people, yeah, and other things that will keep PG on here, because that era of conversation stays here.
Yeah.
And then AJ Styles, like, again, I want to see a continuation between him and Cody. I feel like it could go down a little bit more, because I feel like when it comes to the reason why I'm spending some time talking about this is because I just like talking about the endless possibilities you can get with these people.
Mhm,
If AJ Styles and Cody,
Oh yeah.
you even saw them talking about how they went down similar paths. I like how they mentioned that, because you can add more story to that,
Yeah.
which means maybe their match at Backlash isn't the last match they have. Maybe they have another match at King of the Ring. Maybe you can get more in depth with that. Maybe you can bring up stuff that happened in TNA, because they have a
Oh
partnership
God,
with TNA.
please.
They could easily bring up
Please.
TNA. They could easily bring up like different promotions that they were a part of. AJ Styles can easily bring up how he had a match with Dusty before. There's different things that they can add to that can make it like a more interesting story. And definitely once everything comes together on May 6th, then you're going to get those storylines returning, because then the whole roster is going to get complete. So I do like how AJ Styles is still here, which I was expecting him to be here just mainly because it just makes sense, because I want to see more out of him and Cody.
Well, he's a
If
SmackDown
Andrade-
guy. Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
And with
yeah.
Andrade, what I'm hoping that they eventually do down the line is keep him as a singles competitor, because Andrade is fantastic. And at this point, like you guys talked about earlier when you were giving your thoughts on the LWO and Legado del Fantasma, it needs to come to an end. And since they're focusing on Carlito now, which we'll talk about a little bit later, just keep it to that. Let Andrade go off and do his own thing. He doesn't have to be involved in that just because he has the same heritage as them. you need to have him doing something interesting because I'm not gonna lie, that whole storyline's kind of getting stale if LWO
It is.
and
It is.
Legado. They're not
I
doing
will give my
anything
thoughts
with
later
them.
about that because I got comments.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then Baron Corbin's nice. He reinvented himself, so it'll be interesting to see what they do with him. Cedric
Yep.
Alexander, Ashante Adonis, kind of hoping they went down to NXT only because I feel like they can thrive a little bit better down here. I don't want them to get lost in the shuffle because they're underrated talent.
And that's
They
why I
can do
said
a lot much.
tag team. At least give them the spotlight to at least progress as a tag team, and then in the future you could divide them again. From there, they could establish themselves. That's my hope.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I thought it would have been a good idea if they went down to NXT, only because they would have that opportunity there.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard for me to really say just based on what I've seen. That's why I said earlier, I'm not really surprised.
We're in a
or
new era, so
watched-
I'm just being very optimistic of what could happen.
No, I
like
get
we're still
that.
having,
Right.
we all three of us and the people that have watched this pro wrestling for the past 40 years, we still have that Vince mind of what we have seen and what has been presented to us. We're just hoping Triple H changes, so we hope these superstars get the opportunity they do on the main roster. If they're there, they stay there.
Yeah.
Maybe they have a purpose. That's just, please.
Yeah, let's hope, honestly. And then the OC,
Again, same thing.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
it's
almost
like,
at the point like
just do
Vash
something.
said. They're on NXT right now. They got drafted to SmackDown again. They're not even associating with AJ anymore. What are we doing here? It's kind of hard for me to really get my thoughts on that, honestly, because it's like you saw them on NXT on Tuesday talking about the tag titles and everything like that. They've been down there for quite some time. What are we doing here? I don't know.
Exactly.
Not
But,
really much
you
thoughts
know.
on that.
No. Unfortunately not, because again, the OC just needs to do something. Please. Like, they're all great talent. Just let them do something. Let them thrive. And that's just basically the theme of the draft. At least from my perspective, whenever this happens, it's just like, okay, you're moving these people around. Let's do something with them, please. And I'm a lot more confident with at least this iteration of everything, just because of the leadership and all that. But
Oh yeah.
we got all these stories to continue on. We got stories ending, all that stuff. But like Triple H said, stories are never ending. And we have many, many weekly stories that we go through on a weekly basis. So let's start off with the whole Bloodline saga, because that's going to continue on for ages and ages down the road. But some interesting notes to come out of the Bloodline stuff tonight. First of all, Roman apparently withdraws himself from the draft. Now I didn't get to SmackDown until like 20, almost half an hour into the show, so I didn't get to see some of this beginning part. But yeah, it looked like Paul Heyman had just said he had talked to Roman and he withdrew himself. What are you guys thinking of that? What, like, did he say why, or was it just like he's withdrawing himself from it? Like,
He didn't give no
what's
reason.
going
He
on
just
here?
kept it very vague. Good promo, good high
Yeah.
promo. Like, he was just talking to the camera. He was being rude as usual to Kayla Braxton.
course.
That just don't stop. And I was laughing at Kayla just like there. Like in her head, I was like, I'm gonna smack your bald ass head. Like, just for the fun of it. But Paul just literally just told the audience, like, hey, he's withdrawn from the draft. And it's like, most people know on the timeline, he's just busy making a movie. He probably just couldn't fly out for a day or scheduling conflict. He couldn't do like a video recording. And at the end of the day, people know he's gonna stay at SmackDown, because that means if they announce he's staying at SmackDown, people would theorize, oh, okay, the bloodline this, bloodline that. So I don't think both Paul, Triple H, and Paul Heyman, I don't think they want any type of people online to make any theories. So they'd rather just say he withdraw the draft, so he doesn't say Raw or SmackDown. He's just not be a contender. But question, does this make him a free agent then? Or does he just automatically stay in SmackDown still?
I think he's still gonna be on SmackDown, but at the same time, if I'm Roman right now, he's probably unsure what's going on, so he doesn't really know what to do. So maybe that's the very reason why he decided to take himself out of the draft, only because he does not know what's going on with the bloodline. He doesn't know what direction it's going down. He himself is probably like really curious as to like why is Solo making all of these decisions? Why is Solo adding other members without my permission? Because ever since Solo says, "Oh, so losers have consequences," he started taking this new direction. He started taking he pretty much appointed himself as the tribal chief, even though in reality it was probably The Rock that did that.
Yeah.
Because the way I view it right now of how the story's going on, it seems like Rock, since he felt like he accomplished a lot more at WrestleMania, like he pinned Cody Rhodes, he was able to stand tall. He's even eyeing Cody's title. And now that I'm thinking about it, kind of does make sense why the Bloodline's still on Raw, because you're eventually going to get that Cody and Rock match.
Yeah.
But it just makes me think Rock probably thinks he's superior. He probably looks at Roman as like a loser now, especially since he lost the belt. And also Rock probably didn't forget about that spear that happened at WrestleMania too, because they weren't just going to
Him
add
crying
that in
like a
there,
ass
not do
bitch.
anything with it. So it's like they're probably going to expand on that. Where he did sell it very well, which I
he
really
did.
like
He
that.
did. Yeah.
But it's like
it was just funny.
It was just
Rock
funny that
just
face
looking-
reaction
oh, yeah, I
and the
get
memes
that.
that came out. Like,
Yeah.
he
Oh,
was
yeah, I get
overdoing
that.
it the best way.
So it's like the way I look at it, it's like, okay, Rock is probably looking at Roman as like, okay, who is this guy? I mean, he's talking all this shit. He's saying that he's the tribal chief. He's this and that. You don't have that title to claim that throne anymore because now Cody has it. It's your reason why you're not at the mountain anymore. And Rock just feels like he's more superior. Like I mentioned earlier, you know, looking at Cody's title.
Yeah.
And theoretically, Roman should be getting a rematch out of that. Roman should be like, hey, I want my rematch for my title again.
One
Because
thing,
And I
technically,
mean,
that's not how it happens. But it's like Rock just wants to make all the moves. He wants to be the center of attention, which kind of plays into Rock having an ego. You do have an ego, Dwayne. It's very apparent.
You do. Look at
that's
frickin',
probably what it is.
Look
So-
at Black Adam.
look at
Like,
all like.
Look at
hey,
the DCEU.
if you want to
So-
watch, look, a quick promo. If you want to watch the Anime Podcast episode 145 that comes out next week Thursday at 8 p.m. EST, we talk about a movie called Transformers 1 trailer, and we also spoke about a big bald-headed dude that was in a G.I. Joe sequel that literally took over the movie 10 minutes in and somehow became the main character when nobody gave a fuck about him becoming the main character. So, Rock,
He
are you
even wants-
ego? Yeah.
He even wants to be the end credit scene at Fast 10.
And also wants to be the end credit scene with Superman and tell him that everyone and their moms that Henry Cavill's coming back and never did.
Yeah. So it's basically Rock wanting to be the king of the universe at this point. So he's making Solo the tribal chief. I'm guessing he's probably just telling Solo what to do when he's not there.
What-
And he's going to align himself and build this faction. And then Rock's eventually going to come back. And then that's probably when you're going to get Roman. Because Roman's more than likely coming back as a babyface.
What I love about this is that Paul meets up with Solo in Tonga, right? But
Yeah.
when Paul gets nervous, opens the doors for Solo, he tells it, "Oh, I'm sorry. You know, I'm so used to doing it for the tribal chief, Roman, but like, I'll start doing it from now on." Hopefully, when Roman comes back, the one line he tells to Solo and is, "You never earned my respect for Paul, for my wise man. You earned to become the tribal heir. I saw that in you. But you don't get my wise man to do stuff for you." Because I hope we get that from Roman.
Oh, yeah. He will.
Because that's what I want to see. Because, Paul, why are you being scared for this jobbler? To me, it's like, nah. My man just went from shorts and being no shirt with no shoes.
It's
And
hard
then
for
in
me
a
to
week, he
compare
got
them,
whole
so-
suit and tie and driving Roman's car? Nah.
Look, he hit that main mission on Grand Theft Auto and got the upgrade. Like that.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Dude,
He's
he
now
looks
part
like
of the
He
mafia.
looks like a freaking Sims character. The way
Yeah,
that he's like
he
walking
does.
around, or
And-
create a wrestler in WWE 2K24 with those weird
He's a
ass
call.
gloves. Like, what is he, Michael
Yeah,
Jackson?
I saw the gloves too.
Yes.
I'm like, boy, what you doing? And I love how Paul's just slowly just faded out, and then KO just came from the back for the hands for Tonga. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know I was gonna get there in 2.5 seconds, and now once I saw a vague image of KO just coming out from the back, I'm like, yes, thank you. Just go hands. What's funny, me and my brother had a conversation like, hey, we haven't had a street fight in a while back in the parking lot in a while. And then a week later, I get kind of like a semi parking lot kind of fight. It's just in the parking lot of the venue inside. So like,
I'm not
yes,
gonna lie.
sure.
I laughed my ass off when I just saw Kevin running from the back. Like, I don't know why it was so funny,
Right?
but just seeing him coming just from like the shadows and then like right next to the cars, just like, oh, you were waiting for this to happen.
And then the security just trying to grab KO in the back. This man, I feel like is like the most Chihuahua type of character, where he's like he's the way he built is, but the way he just has such a big bark. Like he will go and give the hand to Tonga. Like, I don't give a fuck. I will take out all these security guards and I will go back to fighting you. I don't care if you guys steal hammer. I don't care if you got the hammer of Thor. I'ma still come here for these hands.
Now to quickly go back to like when Paul like started talking to Solo, Solo did not like the fact that they hadn't gotten drafted yet, and I kind of like how Paul tries to rationalize it with him. He's just like and how he's like stuttering throughout the whole thing, like he's terrified because like again, Paul Heyman's not a combatant. He's a manager. He's a wise man. He's somebody that will, try to talk to you, try to coach you through things, whatever. He's not one to throw a punch. He might like lightly do it. Like I think he's done it like a couple times.
Yeah, he's done it like,
he's
little quick jabs, like
yeah, just like the little like weak things or whatever. But like
It's almost like that.
he's trying to tell Solo. He's just like people don't know what to expect from you because like
exactly. You're not
adding
him.
more people. Yeah, you keep adding new people, and not only are you adding the new people, but the new people are kind of loose cannons, and you're not like reining them in to follow the rules or follow the guidelines because especially the talk after that Nick Aldis had with him last week. It's like, okay, Paul's trying to think a little more. He's trying to reel in Solo the best that he can, and it's not going to end well. I know I said it last week, but it's not going to end well for Paul Heyman.
But what I find funny is that Tonga became the new Solo, and Solo's trying to become the new Roman, because we still haven't heard a word from Tonga.
Yeah,
the only thing we really heard him say was "get off" of me.
Right? So I'm like, I'm like, okay, we just transitioning the chess piece. That's what we're doing. So I'm curious to see, is Jacob gonna be the new Jay or Jimmy version? That's what I'm curious to see.
I honestly think that's probably the new Solo. To be perfectly honest, that's how Solo should be presented. To be honest.
Well, we're about to see.
They're all gonna be the Solo. They're all gonna be like.
We're about to see them in the next few weeks because the rumor is that Jacob's supposed to premiere next week or in the next 2 weeks.
You know what?
I'm gonna take a guess.
Backlash.
Yeah, I was gonna say Backlash makes the most sense.
Yep.
Especially when you have that match at Randy and we'll talk. Randy and KO versus Solo and Tama Tonga at Backlash.
And the graphic was so good too. The regular R and then the K on right in front of it, just smack that.
Exactly. It writes itself. It's right there. Thank you.
I'm saying
I just hit my table. Thank you, WWE, for listening.
Me and Watkins literally came up with his name when it literally happened randomly. We said yes, we want it. RK, or it literally writes itself.
It's right there.
Like, this is perfect marketing. Like, you already have the shirts already. Just slap a different type of writing style for KO on top, and that's literally merch right there to be sold.
Oh, yeah. I'd be surprised if it doesn't get merch.
By the way, I love
I
how
would too.
I love how Bianca, Jade Cargo, and the Kabuki Works were doing a face-off, right? And I love how the camera just looks forward. Somehow, KO, instead of last week, Tonga brought KO to the ring bloody. Instead of this week, we get KO bringing Tonga to the ring. So in my head, I'm like, what the fuck they be doing from the parking lot all the way to the ring? Like, is there like a runway that's just like, hey, start fighting here, then somehow go to the ring? And Jade and Bianca were like, oh, we don't want nothing to this. And they just faded out from the camera so smoothly because we didn't see them no more. So it was nice. And then somehow they went to the ring, which I wish they stayed a bit more on the ramp to kind of like show a bit of the throwing down on like a bit more of the feud there. But they just went straight to the ring. And then, Solo joined and everything. But then when my dude Randy Orton came out, I had a inkling. I thought this man was actually gonna run. When he came out, music hit. We see him doing the slow walk still, and I'm like, "Yo, Randy, I thought you was gonna actually run for once. You see KO literally getting beat up, and you're just doing the slow ass walk." And then the camera pans out. He probably did ran when the camera switches because he was in the middle of the ran. Camera switch. 5 seconds later, he was in the ring. Helping out. So I'm like, he definitely ran after the camera switch. That son of a bitch.
Look, when you have the kind of hockey that Randy Orton has, you don't have to run. You could just meander to the ring. The hockey's strong enough anyways.
Like, how did you feel about that? Like the whole KO still smacking in Solo Tonga to the ring. And then Randy doing his slow ass. Like, were you hyped for this? Because I'm like, in my head, who could have helped him at that moment? I thought Cody was going to come out. But then I'm like, wait a minute. It's not 9:30 yet. So it could happen right before his match with Carmelo. This is his friend. But then I'm like, no, who's the next person? And while I was thinking for the next person, Randy pop up. So it was a great fit.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm looking forward to this match. I mean, Tama Tonga's finally gonna have a match in WWE, so that's gonna be.
And as a pay-per-view for his first match, that's a great first match. As your first match in the WWE, as a pay-per-view or Triple H premium live event.
International crowd too.
That too, international crowd. Damn.
One thing I will say about this feud, and I'm not sure if you guys are gonna agree with me.
What's up?
But I feel like Bloodline needs to win this to make this look like a dominant force moving forward. Because
don't worry.
Randy, I love KO, but they need to win this to make it look legit. Especially if this is like Rock pulling the strings behind the background, you gotta make it look more successful than Roman did. Because then Rock can brag about it. Because Rock's gonna brag about it. He's gonna be like, "Look where I brought Solo and all these people up to this level, and you couldn't even done that."
I see it.
Yeah,
because then you could add layers to their feud.
Yeah, like look what happens when you actually follow my command. Like instead of trying to be your own tribal chief, you could still be the tribal chief, but like you can still listen to the final boss because I'm the final boss, final boss this, final boss that, probably drop a few F-bombs because it's The Rock, he could do that. But I'm on the same wavelength. I'm like, yes, have the Bloodline win, not only because, Tama Tonga's first match and all that, but like it's also Solo's first time
to lead
in a match leading just like this. Exactly. And also kind of tying into like, hey, Jacob Fatu coming in during Backlash, even if it is even if the Bloodline do win because of his help and whatever, fine, whatever, because hey, that still like ties into the story going on here.
And ties into the Bloodline stigma of what they do with other family members helping them out, do what they need to do to grab other people. So
it makes sense.
Also, last thing I want to add about this segment about the Bloodline draft. My man, my favorite GM of fucking Friday Night Smackdown is Teddy Long. And thank you to Kurt Graves. I said it earlier, right after he announced that of the match of RKO versus the Bloodline of Solo and Tonga at Backlash. I love how Kurt Graves, right after, he literally just pointed to Wade like, hey, you're just lucky that he didn't say Undertaker versus you. And I love that because Kurt Graves was bringing it back to us fans watching this all these years ago of Teddy Long doing that all the time, because Undertaker was the final boss for us. Like, he was the one that Teddy Long will always be like, oh, you know what? I'm tired of your ass. You're the first and final boss, Undertaker. Good luck tonight. Bye. I'm like, bitch, what?
Yep.
So I love that so much. By the way, Teddy Long, nice goatee. A little gray on top, a little black on the bottom.
Oh, I love the gray. I love the gray in his little goatee.
It's a little faded. It kind of reminds me of mine. I know that it never gets shown on camera, but my hair naturally is orange, red, and black. I mean, like dark brown. Don't know how, but it's cool to know in my bloodline, I guess pun intended, we have red and orange hair. So that's cool.
That is really cool. But, you know, as lucky as people were to not have to face The Undertaker, we were also lucky tonight because we finally got our confirmation. The signatures have been signed, the T's have been crossed, the I's have been dotted. We are getting Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles for the WWE title at Backlash. Again, I didn't get to see much of this segment. I'm kind of glad this started the night, just kind of bookending the night with Cody and his shenanigans going on. But I did catch, you know, a little bit from social media about, you know, some lines being said, and you guys can fill in the gaps too as well before we, you know, moving on with the rest of Cody's night. But like some of the lines I saw from like AJ saying, you know, your dad taught me a lot, especially how to carry myself and the weight of a champion, and we're gonna see if you can carry it at Backlash. Now, for me, like, I know AJ's supposed to be a heel, but in a way,
I didn't feel
he's
like
kind
a heel.
of feeling, he's kind of feeling like a tweener right now, where like, he's a heel, but like he's kind of saying some things like a baby face. Like, I mean, we see later on in the night, you know, to even end the night, he comes out there, confronts Cody, and they have a handshake. Like, no attack, no like saying anything bad or anything. It's just he shows up, shakes his hand, and that's pretty much it. But like, just the way he's talking to Cody here, it made me feel like he's really doing this to test Cody, to make sure that Cody is at the level that he needs to be. And I mean, hell, I know that's not to say, you know, that's AJ's only motivation, because obviously, you know, winning the WWE title for a third time, hey, that's not a bad shout at all. But I think there is a part of him too that is still like trying to, again, test him to make sure that he is at the level that he needs to be. But like, even Cody here kind of rebutting to him right here, you know, it's not about winning this title anymore. It's about keeping it. No matter how phenomenal you are, this isn't a dream match to me. It's a must win. So kind of Cody like echoing the same sentiments that AJ was telling him too in that segment. It's just like, you know, I need to carry the weight of what this title carries, because it's not just me, it's, you know, the history of the title, it's the history of my family and all that. But like, even though like AJ versus Cody is a dream match, it just means more to Cody, kind of like Chad Gable, but in a more positive and happier light. But guys, what did you think of at least the contract signing of Cody's night, and how excited are we for Cody versus AJ next week? And if there was anything more to go with the promos and all that, like how these two meshed on the mic against each other.
If I may go first, because I have short thoughts, since I have not seen AJ Styles' career too much to actually have any type of connection with him as much. Like, I know, like Watkins said earlier in the beginning, AJ Styles built this show, you know, SmackDown Live. Like, AJ Styles was the one of all these years ago when he debuted and everything. I'm excited for this match. I am excited to see what we presented as a match, as a story was presented to us in the audience in Backlash. So I'm excited. Are my excitement levels out of 10? I'm like an 8. I am there. I am thrilled. Was this contract signing as good as others? Yes. Was it as chaotic as others? No. But it doesn't always need to be chaotic. And that's something that me as a fan, I was expecting for like a flable. I said flable. What the fuck is a flable? A table to flip. I was expecting something like that, but it didn't, and I'm okay with that because also what Watkins said, the AJ Styles is a tweener right now. He was also giving compliments towards Cody, his father. AJ Styles was also getting a bit emotional, talking that like he was about to break character and actually like cry or something like that, but he was breaking he was getting emotional while he was speaking highly about his father of Cody. However, for the contract signing overall, good. And that's how it should be, because about if babyface and a tweener like this having no history that they ever crossed path, and this is the first time they're gonna build history between each other, but they have crossed path in different companies in different ways. That's something that I agree will drop, that hopefully we get to it by Friday or something, because a lot of people on the timeline said that they wanted more promo work from them, and I'm like, motherfucker, this is just literally a contract signing. We're gonna get the promo work that Friday, the day before, or other days on social media or anything like that. So at the end of the day, for me, I'm satisfied with the contract signing. As an old school WWE fan for the past 20 years plus, I probably wanted like a chaos, but I have to understand that this wasn't the right time or the need for it. The ending, where AJ Styles was there after the fight of Carmelo and everything, was pretty intriguing, because even AJ Styles, I felt like he was going to hit Cody behind him. That's something that I wouldn't have not mind, to show that he still wants the title. And he did like this, like I was this close or something like that. So that, it could have many meanings of what us fans could read in between. But I like what I got. I'm satisfied. How about you, Drop?
I would have to say that I'm really excited for this match, only because I feel like if they really wanted to, they could probably extend this feud past Backlash, which I'm really hoping they do. And since both of these guys are on the same brand, I would love for them to dive like deeper into the story. Like I spoke about earlier with AJ, talking about that history between the indies, how they have similar career paths, talking more about Dusty, since AJ has history with Dusty in TNA. He actually had a match and he actually beat Dusty in that match. So it's almost like if AJ really wanted to say next week, well, I beat your father, so shouldn't it be that hard to beat you? Just rub it in his face, just acting like a big shot.
Yeah.
So I would definitely love for them to like dive more deeper into this, which I feel like, it's a good possibility they really could if they wanted to, because when it comes to feuds, you don't just have to have one match. You could have maybe 2 or 3 more matches. I mean, look at Seth last year. He had a couple matches with Finn, a couple matches with
Nakamura.
Shinsuke.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if they really wanted to, they can tell a bigger story with this, which I feel like we're definitely going to be getting storytelling like this in this new era. And I really like how, both of them are like on the same playing field right now. But I'm hoping down the line, it gets more personal, because I just feel like AJ just has it in him to like really get under Cody's skin, which
Exactly.
he could honestly bring up. Honestly, if AJ really wanted to, he could rub it in his face and bring up accolades that he actually achieved on the indies that maybe Cody didn't. Just saying, well, me and you were on the same career path, but I achieved more than you. So this should be an easy way for me to just take this title like that.
And that's something that I hope and I'm excited for, because at the end, we're in the start. This is the start of the era. This is the start of the new season. Why are people expecting 10 out of 10 or 20 out of 10 kind of promo work? Like, this is like how people... Oh, my God. I'm sorry. No. People calling Cody a boring champion. Like, I seen the timeline on IG in the post of WWE. I'm like, Roman did not become the tribal chief that y'all love in 1 year, in 6 months.
Said
No,
the same shit about him too.
He took 4 years to become the Tribal Chief that y'all love and y'all adore, and it took 10 years for y'all to actually love this dude, cause y'all used to boo him. So do not start booing Cody just because of what he is and what he isn't to you. Let him do the job. Let him proceed his work. The same thing with just Styles. Let him get to his promo work. Let him get to his mic work. Let there be the time that we are gonna get.
Yeah. And if anybody in the chat, wants to get me some new AJ Styles gloves, that would be lovely, because the right one, I don't know if you guys can see. I don't want to get my hand too close to the camera because it might autofocus and ruin everything. The right one is just completely messed up, whereas left one, fine, perfect. So anybody in the chat wants to do that, hey, that'd be great. But so yeah, after they have their little contract signing, Cody helps Triple H with the first round of the draft picks, and somebody decides to shoot their shot. Carmelo Hayes comes out. He's just like, "Hey, yo,
I should have wore that.
Let me fight you. Let me fight you. Let me see where I'm at." And yeah, our main event is Cody Rhodes versus Carmelo Hayes. And
question:
I thought this is
before we get into the actual fight, I want to ask, how did we feel about Carmelo Hayes actually shooting the shot for a 1-on-1? Because people in the timeline thought that it was a champion match. And I'm like, he never said champion. He said, I'm going to shoot my shot against you. Literally, the face of the company towards the future face. The current face with future face. That's literally what, like, when I saw that, I'm like, yo, Carmelo literally gave you the promo work. He said, hey, I am him. I am the guy that shoots. So I'm about to shoot, and I don't miss. How about you and me, Cody? We go 1-on-1. I love it that we get that, because when the champion still doesn't do 1-on-1 matches, it feels very stagnant without the title. But still doing 1-on-1 matches that doesn't include as a title match, that's nice to see, because it gives Carmelo this nice match. It shows the shine to the SmackDown people, and that's what I love. That like, yo, why people be mad? Just shut the fuck up.
This is what I will say about that, because I didn't really understand that logic on the timeline and didn't really make any sense. Because you got to look at it like this. You got to factor in a couple things. For one, Carmelo is the future of the company. So this isn't the first time you're going to be seeing Carmelo Hayes. You're going to see Carmelo Hayes within multiple WrestleManias. He's going to be main eventing them. He's going to become a Royal Rumble winner. He's going to win his first main roster title one day. This is the guy that you're going to see probably when I have kids. My kids are going to look at Carmelo as like the next big thing, just like Braun Breaker. You got to factor that in. He's one of the legit future. He's the future of the company. And it's also, when he says he shoots his shot, that's literally his character. That's literally what his characters. And then he even brought up what Cody says: when you come for the king, you better not miss. I like how Mello spun that around, kind of like if you're kind of like how Eminem does when he's rapping.
Because Mello don't miss.
Yeah, but also saying like that a line that Cody has done in interviews and everything, like when you come for the king, that was smart. Like saying you're giving kids. It seems like kids never went to school, because Carmelo literally gave a supporting thesis with supporting details and give you the statement of why he could shoot his shot. And the crowd just did not hear the supporting details. They didn't hear the thesis of why. They just heard, hell, 1-on-1, let's go. But did not hear the go for the king. He always shoots. He sometimes miss. He doesn't miss this. Nothing.
Yeah, it's like
I said just before. Goes into media literacy anymore, but that
it's I mainly saw it on Twitter, just a whole bunch of people acting weird. But it's like I said before, it's like how you get in a rap battle of Eminem. Everything you say towards Eminem, he's gonna flip it back on you, and then you're not gonna know what to say back.
Yeah,
it's pretty much the same thing with Carmelo. You say something to Carmelo, he's gonna flip it back on you, and he's going to pretty much, answer your statement. Oh, you call yourself the king. You say if you come for the king, you don't miss. Well, here's the thing about me. I'm Carmelo Hayes. I'm him. I don't miss. So I like how he made a statement there. And also, this was a star-making performance for him, because I actually want to read his post that he mentioned on his official Twitter. He said right here. Where is it? Yeah, he says right here. Was on the couch watching SmackDown last week. This week drafted first round and wrestling WWE champion in the main event. When I say I don't miss, I mean it. And Triple H even says, after a performance like this against the undisputed champion Cody Rhodes, Carmelo has shown the entire SmackDown roster that he is him. And he does the iconic finger point. They're telling you this guy's going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
That's why they're
And-
doing all of this, and that's why they're showcasing him at this level.
And that's the other thing. They're not just telling us, they're showing us. And
Yeah.
even Carmelo's showing us. And the only thing one of the things I want to add on with all this is like, so I have a weird mindset when it comes to champions having like singles matches and all that. So, for example, I get the idea of like an exhibition. So like what we got tonight with Carmelo Hayes, for example. It's like, okay, this is our world champion just having an exhibition match. It's not for a title. It's just him facing the contender, or not a contender, just facing somebody. Whereas, sometimes on the other hand, you would have like the number one contenders match being a non-title match against the champion. And then that to me is just a little odd, because it's like, okay, you're going to have a match against the champion, and if you beat the champion, then you can have another match with them for the championship. And it's like, well, that kind of screws out the challenger, because, the champion, even though they lost that first match, they now know what went wrong and they can plan for it. Like, it kind of puts the challenger at a disadvantage with that. But that's just a personal thing for me. But the other thing too, this was something I put in my notes here, because the main reason, at least for me, for this match is this is a great way to set up Carmelo Hayes' rise to the top. And I kind of compared this, and I'm sure there's a better comparison, but this was just the first thing that popped into my mind. But I was getting Zoro versus Mihawk vibes from this.
I'm getting the opposite. Katakuri versus Luffy, because both of the Gum Gum fruit and both of the Mochi Mochi fruit. Because seeing this fight, Carmelo and Cody has similar styles in their fights.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, Carmelo seems to be a bit more airborne than Cody, even though, Cody did disaster kicks and Cody cutters and all that. But like, Melo seems like a bit more airborne. But the reason I do the Zoro versus Mihawk comparison is because Zoro, he challenged Mihawk first, to obviously, because Mihawk is the goal. That is the goal point. That is the goalpost. That is where he needs to be. That's where he wants to be. So challenging Mihawk was a way for him to see just exactly where he was against the best. And that is exactly what Carmelo Hayes did here. It's like, yeah, he could have challenged Cody to a title match, but he didn't. He just challenged him to a match. This was something for Carmelo to see where he stacked up on the main roster. Because, like, yeah, he had a few matches here and there on SmackDown to, do a few things. Like, the one Austin Theory match, and I think there was another one too. I can't remember who he faced. But this was for him, and you see it too with like after the match, like some of the camera shots we get too, like him just like looking on or like looking behind him, looking at Cody and all that. This was just him seeing where he's at and like how far he needs to go in order to reach that pinnacle. And I think that's the most important takeaway from all of this, is just knowing where he's at and seeing how backstage, especially Triple H, seeing how they've reacted to this match. Kid's gonna go far. Like he's gonna make it to that level. It's never a matter of if, just a matter of when.
The big reason,
yeah,
the big reason I say about Carmelo and Cody having similar style is the way that Cody tried to do the Cody cutter and the way that Melo tried to do his move as well, and they both cross each other. And that's when I noticed like they almost have a similar style in their move sets. Not exactly, but similar styles in that. And that reminded me a lot of the Luffy Gum Gum with Karakuri Mochi Mochi. Like they don't have the exact same Devil Fruit, but they have very similar styles in their punching and their kicking and stuff like that. So that's what reminded me with Carmelo doing his move, and then Cody Rhodes, hopefully you were selling your shoulder pain. Hopefully it was a small.
I hope so.
Hopefully it was just a little, push, little nerve, little muscle. Hopefully it's not too serious. And if you're selling it, man, you did a good job, because after you put that little slowness up in the corner and then you raise that title, I was like, all right, cool. You was either breathing and holding it in, or you was either like, yeah, I got this, bitch. Yeah, just believe this bullshit. But at the same time, it looked kind of like it stung a bit. Like, yeah, I got this. Let's finish the match. We're good.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I saw Cody go for the Cody Cutter and Melo went for his move, I honestly took it as they were trying to go for their same move at the same time, and they're trying to do that classic thing where they both clashed.
Yeah.
And because
but they missed the
execute
timing.
The move, it could be that, or because of how different they execute their moves, they don't really connect.
And also, this could be the first time they have actually worked together. So it was probably on the fly type of plan, and they was trying to probably talk about it backstage
on
and see. On screen. Yeah.
Because Carmelo helped. Because Carmelo actually helped train Cody Rhodes when he was getting back after his injury.
After his pec surgery, after his pec surgery and everything. But yeah, on screen I meant wise. So overall the match was good. I think the match lasted 6 minutes, I believe it was, but it was entertaining.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they had some time. So.
I have nothing else to say other than what Drop said. Cody Carmelo doing the picture with Triple H, putting the finger and everything. Like, look, also, Carmelo's fucking 26 years old. We are literally seeing what we grew up with, what our older generation grew up with, seeing Triple H 20 years ago, seeing John Cena 20 years ago. We are seeing the future stars of what Drop said. That literally just smacked myself in the head when Drop said, yeah, my kids are going to see Carmelo as the new guy. I'm like, fuck, that's 10 years from now. My kids will probably be 5 years old at least. So they're going to be seeing Carmelo Hayes as well. I'm like, God, that's a smack to reality, to know that we're watching the current people, but our kids are going to be watching the current people we're seeing as what they already see at the time. So that's pretty interesting. Like, that is in the best way to build the company and build what you have as the future.
And you never know around that time when we have kids and they start watching wrestling.
Yeah.
They might end up seeing Becky and Seth's kid in NXT and Cody's kid in NXT on their way up soon. You never know.
That'd be pretty interesting.
Drop. I'm almost positive. You remember Izzy, right?
I'm waiting for Izzy. I'm waiting for Izzy to come and join NXT.
Yes, I remember her.
How old do you feel now that she's wrestling?
She is 16 or 18, I believe, right now, and I'm so happy that she's.
Pretty sure she's 18 now.
Yeah.
I don't even know how old she is. Let me see. Oh, she's 16 currently.
Yeah. See,
right. She's 16. Oh my god.
Because
so you can give her like 2 years. So she's probably turning 17 this year. So give her another year and a half. She can be in NXT.
Yeah, she's joining NXT for sure.
Because Thea Hale's 19. So.
Right. Yeah, she's fairly young. So
wait, Thea Hale's 19.
Yeah.
Wow, I've only seen her in NXT for the past year and a half. Damn, less than 2 years. God damn.
Yeah.
No
honestly,
wonder
when she hits 18, she can probably do that.
No wonder the lines of hers back in NXT saying that she could have been the youngest NXT superstar as the women's champion. No wonder that line was used, because it makes sense now. God damn, that's crazy.
But imagine a full story coming together with Izzy and Bailey in the future too.
Yes.
See, I'm looking forard to that.
I'm waiting for that. I'm hopefully with Bailey don't retire by then. Hopefully, girl gets the opportunity, and I'm sure they have had contacts. Hopefully, they had conversation. But talking about the Cody and Carmelo, I have no other last thoughts about this.
Me
Great
neither.
match. AJ confronts Cody, but we already brought up earlier in our of the contract signing.
Notes.
So overall was
Yeah.
good.
Right. Yep. Well, as our stories continue on, we have three relatively short
I think we
segments.
did speak about Bianca, did we?
No,
Uh,
we didn't.
No, we had mentioned that
Of the draft.
KO and
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
well, KO and
Alright.
Tamatanga interrupted the segment at the
Alright.
end, but I mean
Okay.
this was a very short kind of interview
Yeah.
segment. Bianca comes out, talks with Caleb Braxton. I don't know if this was announced on Twitter or not.
No, this was
I
this was
wasn't-
announced. This was announced with
Right.
Nick Aldis telling Caleb Braxton in the back.
that
Oh,
happened after this part.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's when Kayla came out and they were talking,
Yeah.
and then they announced the match right before KO came out.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Okay.
this segment announced the match then.
Correct.
Yep.
Okay, because I don't know, just kind of came out of nowhere because I'm like, oh, wait, did I miss that on Twitter or something? Okay, fine, whatever. I mean, not that I'm mad at it or whatever, but yeah, so basically we're getting Kabuki Warriors versus Bianca and Jade for the titles at Backlash.
Prediction: they're winning.
Cool.
I'm gonna just say that
Yeah.
right now. Bianca and Jade
I
is
mean,
winning.
yeah.
I don't
yeah,
know. I don't know
basically.
what does they add to the NXT/WWE Tag Team Women Division. I don't know what does they add, even though that division is in shambles. But hey, I don't know.
I mean, it's really just going to add to Jade and Bianca's story because, I mean, realistically, who's going to beat them anytime soon?
Yeah, exactly. So at
You
the
know.
end, it's like this was a good segment. It was a good just to have the hockey of the Kabuki Warriors coming out, get a little pop for them, and then have Jade come out and Bianca, gorgeous woman, black excellent,
Mhm.
love ya.
And then just kind of tying in too with like stories ending during this odd period of time. Like Bianca even mentions here that she's kind of tired of damage control. She's officially like really ready to just move on from it, and having Jade as her partner is like the perfect tool to have to finish them off. And saying the whole babyface line of I hope she ends up on SmackDown, blah blah blah, which the fact she mentioned that line, it would be really interesting if she got drafted to Raw.
It would be.
And yet-
it would be.
Yeah. And
I'll
yet
catch
they're
you off
both
guard,
tag
too.
team. Yeah, they're both tag champions, and then that would be
That
an
would be
interesting
a
dynamic.
interesting conundrum. That would be an interesting one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of make you think how they would sort that out.
Yeah, like how do you balance that teamwork and dynamic when now both of them have to
Mhm.
appear on both shows since they're champion? But then that would be
Yeah.
a good way to push them in a light that the titles are split because of individuals, but they're still represented by each of their brand. That'd be interesting. Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. So, and Kabuki Warriors come out, confront them. They all have a stare off, and like we said, KO and Tamatanga did their thing. That was the segment. That was the short little segment. So, moving on from one short segment to another, we got the Street Profits backstage getting interrupted by Byron Saxton. And looks like their challenge to A-Town Down Under for the WWE Tag Titles is next week. So that's
I love
going to
those
be
titles so
in
much.
France.
So Montez,
I do too.
Yeah, Montez, you probably ate some you need to eat some Snickers because once Braxton came up like, "Hey guys, I'm sorry to interrupt." Montez was like, "Nah, you can't come here, nah." And then his partner, I forgot, I'm drawing a blank on his name. Montez
Angela
Ford.
Dawkins.
Thank you. Angelo was
Yeah.
like, hey, bro. He did say sorry. At least he was nice. Montez is still trying to act like the heel, but like the annoyance, like, yo, why you here? We're
Right.
trying to have a vibe. Angelo Dawson's like, yo, chill. We vibing, but other people can come through a vibe as long as they're polite. So I was like, that was nice. Chill vibe. But then A-Town Down Under came in and those titles still look amazing. I just want to say that. I don't give a fuck about Greats in theory. But the titles looks fabulous.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean they just have a few words back and forth. What's his name? Grayson Waller says something bad about the Bengals, and that's about it. That's about again, like not much build for next week, but if you look, I thought about this when they were announcing like all the stuff that was happening next week on SmackDown. It's a stacked card because like we have this tag team title match. We have AJ versus Cody Rhodes next week. Oh, not versus. We have them facing off against each other. And another tag match that got set up from this week, the Final Testament AOP versus New Catch Republic, as hey, Karrion Kross and his boys are just gonna destroy them in the back. Like that was just at first I thought he was like spying on the bloodline really quick. Like the whole KO versus bloodline fight was still going on, and Karrion Kross was just like, "Hey, come over here and check out this cool thing. Look at this thing."
It was intriguing. Like he brought the cameraman.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he brought the camera or he grabbed the camera itself. It was pretty interesting concept perspective on it. But also the way he also just destroyed them. Like, damn, you're gonna just put Pete Dunne and Tyler Bates just literally just smacking around in the back. But also his jacket of Karrion Kross remind me of the jacket of Judgment Day of Damian Priest. Just instead of purple and black, it was like a red and black. That's what it reminded me of a lot.
Yeah, I could see that.
And like Karrion Kross is getting more aggressive, so like I hope we get like I feel like is he like a ticking time bomb? We haven't like he's been a lot of the prophet, like he believes a lot on the prophet, like his story is about the timetable and everything. But now he's more on the Final Testament, like he's more on the Final Judgment Day, like this is the last time for you guys and everything. So I'm curious to see what happens with this storyline with New Catch Republic and the Final Testament. That's it, really. Curious.
Yeah, I mean that's. Yeah, I'm just more curious. I mean, I think it's gonna be a good match because again, like AOP, they very strong team, like power wise at least, and New Catch Republic. I mean, there's some good boys. That's that's basically all there is to it with them. But yeah, so that is basically our weekly stories. But we still got some matches to talk about.
Matches,
some
like three only.
We gotta talk about Vash's favorite match of the night though.
Which
Look,
one?
we gotta
Because
talk
it was none of them.
Mysterio and Dragon Lee versus Humberto
Look,
and Angel.
well,
Look, match
I
of
don't
the
know.
night, story of the night, like perfect. Like everything just hit on all cylinders, you know.
Except-
Rey Mysterio didn't miss a drop at all. Dragon Lee, he's looking still strong as ever. LWO are
Dragon
a
Lee
perfect
fell
unit.
inside the
Everything's
Mario
great.
Kart green
Yeah.
tube. I saw that
I mean,
meme on Twitter, and I
I mean,
love
Watkins is pretty much Carmelo right now. He's not missing. He's pretty much
I'm
telling
not.
the truth about this entire LWO
it.
segment.
We haven't had a big shout out
won't lie.
to our big IWC person in the community, Hangman. The way he does his little tweets of the of the Sonic rings. Instead of this one, Dragon Lee collapsed downstairs on the ring. Instead of going down to the ring on the floor, he teleported to the Mario world. So that's a pretty nice, funny one. And other than that,
funny.
look, sorry to say, guys, but I don't give a fuck about this match. Other than Carlitos being caught on 4K, being the one to attack Dragon Lee, and his acting was like, I don't know if his acting was bad or his acting was like, what the fuck do I do in this situation? Do I escape or do I try to defend myself or do I just throw Dragon Lee on a backbreaker and then just leave and then just escape? And that's what he did. And I'm like, and then Sato's like, I wish Sato's line was this, but did I lie? But did I lie?
Right, right.
I
like
I wish that was the line.
I wanted him to do that. I wanted him to do
because
that. Like
because
it would have been so great.
because it's just him staring to Ray and just say, "I told you so." I'm like, bitch, nobody believe you. You should have said a different lie. You should have said like, "Did I lie though?"
Right,
I said it wasn't me, and I show you 4K footage. And I'm not the bad guy.
I think the funniest thing for all of this, first of all, the match itself, I mean, it's exactly what you would think of Legado del Fantasma versus Rey Mysterio. And, well, actually, no, it's not what you would think because you would think it would have been better than it was. But
Yeah,
Yep.
that's why I'm
again, that's just
sorry,
like
guys. Sorry,
I have
Chad.
such high
fine.
expectations for like these guys on like just on paper because they are all really fantastic wrestlers. Like they're good talent. They're really great talent.
They just need to change
But it's
producers
like,
and writers. That's honestly, they just
Yeah.
need to improve
Yeah.
them.
yeah,
Reshuffle the people on the storyline.
They should end it
Mhm.
Like
next
Watkins, like Drop,
Friday.
like myself.
yep.
I'm a Spanish heritage person here, and I don't even give a fuck about my own Spanish heritage storyline segment that is supposed to at least resonate with me. I don't even care. Like, that doesn't even look good. Like, a guy that's supposed to care about my own people, of my Spanish heritage, and I don't give two flying flipping fucks of turns and nothing of apples going around, nothing. Like, Carlitos, cool. You're the heel. We've been theorizing that for like the past 3 weeks, 4 weeks, even before WrestleMania. So for you to finally do it and being caught for a kill, cool. What's next for you? Because you're as good as a heel. Are you gonna have better mic work now? Are you gonna actually get time? Like, let's see what gets cooking in this pot. If it doesn't get cooked, it's gonna be an ugly ass steam of nothing.
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm expecting out of this. I think that was probably the highlight out of this whole entire segment
Yeah.
is what we saw with Carlito. Because Carlito is a
Mhm.
lot better as a heel. He can be more ruthless. You can actually, and I'm hoping and praying you bring back his original theme song because it just fits his whole character now, his whole vibe of the direction that
Yeah.
he's going. Like I spit into the face of people who don't want to be cool. That's a heel entrance. Just thinking you're the shit. And who doesn't want to see like Carlito just get like all up in someone's face and then spit an apple at them again like he used to? Because Carmelo's honestly the highlight of his career has always been as a heel. Even if you look back at like old WWE, he was just a ruthless person that didn't give a shit and just did what he wanted, and that's what a lot of people loved about Carlito. That's why so many people were excited to see Carlito when he eventually came back because they wanted to see him go down that route again and play that character. So that's
Yeah.
honestly the best part out of this segment alone is seeing Carlito being caught at the AEW All In pay-per-view backstage of what he was doing with Dragon Lee.
Exactly.
And I did say that on purpose because
Yep.
a lot of people are making memes of that.
Good as they should. Because here's the thing. Like even with with the video footage they showed of Carlito beating up Dragon Lee, I still find it hard to believe, even with the mask and even like in the blocking that they used for it. I still kind of find it hard to believe that Dragon Lee didn't even catch a glimpse of the big ass afro that beat him up.
Yeah.
There's a big
Like-
difference of a big afro compared to
And
Santos
a big ass afro.
to a long ass hair that's almost up to like his back of here. There's a big difference of you feeling a curly ass afro to long hair, and Carlitos, I believe, is more bulky than Santos as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, you would think something, but hey, Carlito's trying to get that Oscar. Like I love how he went through the door and like waited a couple seconds. Like he like counted to 5. Like he was just like, all right, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, and then like after 5, he's just like, all right, let me go out here and like make it look like I'd be eating this apple. Oh no, Dragon Lee, what happened? Oh my gosh, who attacked you? Like, man, his acting was on point. I loved every moment of it. I don't know. I said most of my LWO stuff earlier. I'm just tired of it.
Yeah.
I'm ready for all of them to move on. I'm ready for just stop fighting each other. Like, just do more shit, and try to last longer than 2 minutes, because some people who I don't want to name, but I will name Mr. Cedric Alexander, couldn't last more than 2 minutes against Braun Breaker. You couldn't last more. You couldn't last longer against that man. He split you in half. I mean,
Well, you
granted,
know,
Braun Breaker has the best spear in the business. You didn't hear that from me.
Oh, I
I'm just
agree.
some idiot on the internet spouting his opinion. But
2 minutes
like,
is a
even
long
Braun
2 minutes.
yeah, like you didn't last that long. Which I mean,
But
again,
hey, it's not that
we're
long.
building up Braun Breaker and all that.
But
So
two
At least
minutes
he's on
is
Raw.
a long 2 minutes. So I'm
Mhm.
saying 2 minutes is a long 2 minutes.
But look,
But this conversation needs of this fight needs to be 2 minutes because at the end of the day,
yeah,
this is what it was. Braun Breaker just had a regular fodder fight in his last match on SmackDown.
And honestly, with him going on Raw, he can go after that IC title, which would be pretty awesome.
hmm
Now that I'm thinking about it, imagine like heel Braun against Sammy.
Or
Make
against
my
Sheamus, or against
Inject
Gunther,
it.
Oh, yeah.
or against
Oh, yeah.
Gunther.
into my veins.
We said it before, Gunther versus Braun back in WrestleMania. That could have been something that we wanted. Now we could get that.
Hey, we could see it again. Because
Exactly.
there's only 3 people that managed to beat Gunther ever since he came to WWE. That was Ilya Dragunov, Braun Breaker, and Sami Zayn. Because Braun Breaker and Gunther had a little thing going on.
And now, if
in,
Eddie
NXT.
Jot gets transferred to Monday on Raw on Monday, ooh,
Who does?
Ilya Dragunov. If he gets transferred
God,
this
please.
Monday on Raw, we have the
Inject it.
3 people that have beat him. Gunther now. I hope he gets
Act-
nervous. That would be perfect.
WWE. I don't know if
Oh,
you
yeah,
could see
that is
this,
true.
but there's a vein right there. There's a vein right
He'd
there
say
in my arm,
injected it.
WWE. I want you to inject Ilya Dragunov into this vein. Him against anybody, just right there.
Now that I
inject
think
it.
about it, I think there's actually a good chance he probably ends up there, especially if they want to balance it out.
Mhm.
Since
Yeah.
Carmelo's over on SmackDown, and they're probably going to bring somebody else from NXT that's like around the same level there to balance it
Mhm.
over there. So I think he has a good chance on there because, WWE's like foaming on the mouth just to have Ilya and Gunther on the same brand.
Oh my God, yes. I even saw some posts on Twitter just in the past couple days about like people being excited to see Ilya Dragunov versus Gunther again.
Hell
They were
yeah.
like, yes, give us this on the main roster, which yes, give
They had
us
a
that
match with the
100%.
NXT UK that was like 45 minutes long.
Mm-hmm.
I still need to watch that. I heard.
Yes.
I've been told by
Do
you
it.
guys, and I've been told by others. I need to watch that. Can't
Do
wait
it.
one day. One day will happen. Until that day
One
comes,
of these days.
it'll happen.
Yeah, but hey, you know what? Today, even though today is not that day, it's still Tiffy time. Tiffany Stratton faced off against Naomi in a #1 contenders match. This is what, their 3rd match on TV together?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was second.
No, the first I know it was
No.
Tiffany fought her when she maybe her 2nd or 3rd matchup, and she beat Naomi.
Mm-hmm.
And then last week Naomi beat her. Well,
Yeah.
2
Oh
weeks
wow!
ago,
So,
Naomi beat her.
so
Now they
will
have
we
another
count
match.
Elimination Chamber? Because if that is Elimination Chamber, this will be the 4th match as well.
I
would
wouldn't
count
just
the
because it was
yeah.
like multi-person.
Okay, so
I would
one
say
on one. Alright,
singles
cool. Damn.
matches.
Honestly,
Yeah.
thought this was
Yeah.
second. Copy that one over my head. 3rd match.
That's all good.
Yeah, that's fine.
I like how they're not making it feel redundant because they're making each, like, you know how we have had Maxine and Ivanao and Candice and Indy like for like 5 times already.
I
At
don't think I
least
can compare it to that.
I could, because with Tiffany and Naomi, at least each match has had a different ending. Like with this one, it was interrupted because of Nia Jax. So at least the match this time it didn't get finished because of a disqualification. So I love how they're changing each match, not having the same results, and also not ending the same. So at least with this in their feud or in their story is going its own route. Bailey on commentary was really nice. I love how Bailey is being more open, more talking, showing the face side of her. And I love how the match was showing the highlights of both Naomi and Tiffany. By the way, Tiffany's outfit remind me of Lola Bunny. I don't know what does the highlight of the blue and pink and just her outfit just reminded me of Lola Bunny, and just the sass of Tiffany
Look,
just gives me of that, and I'm just like, I support.
Mm.
I'm gonna keep it PG of a supporter of a pro wrestling superstars. I love the outfit. That's case close on that.
I like how they structured this match because I already knew
Mhm.
jumping in it was going to turn into a triple threat anyway because
Oh,
that's
really?
what they were building to.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it seemed like they were building to that anyway. Because if you take time to like look at how the feuds are being structured, you could sort of see what sort of direction going in. Because hypothetically, if you just kept it Bailey and Naomi, why are you leaving Tiffany out of that story since she had some involvement and unfinished business there? So it makes
Exactly.
sense to add them there. And also the way that the match ended makes sense because you had to protect both Naomi and Tiffany heading into that match with Bailey. And since they both eyed Bailey's title and they wanted a shot at it, it makes sense to have a triple threat at Backlash to determine
Mhm.
who's going to come on top of that match. Because with this match that we're getting at Backlash, it elevates Bailey as a champion more. You have top contenders like Naomi, which is a veteran in the business. You have a rising star like Tiffany Stratton, which is going to, just like Carmelo Hayes, going to main event pay-per-views. She's going to win Royal Rumbles. She's going to win main roster titles. She's going to be a Money in the Bank winner. She's going to be a Grand Slam champion. She's going to be the future. Like I mentioned before, this is the girl that's going to be around here for years to come because she's one of the future faces of the women's division. Just like how Charlotte and Becky and Bailey and Sasha were. That's who Tiffany is going to be as well. So putting her in this position with somebody, a future Hall of Famer like Bailey, putting her in a match with her, competing with her, it's really nice to see because Tiffany's still young. She has a lot of time to grow. And the fact that she's getting thrown in with veterans definitely shows how much they see with her. I obviously know Bailey's going to come out on top in this match because it's definitely way too soon for Bailey to lose the title, and Bailey also deserves a good enough run with the title considering how what was the word? Considering how she wants the future, how much she cares about the women's division. That's why she's very selfless, and she did all these things to put all the people over, to help Io and Dakota grow.
Yeah.
That's why you had that whole storyline play out between Damage Control about them using her to get to where they are and everything like that. So definitely Bailey deserves a lengthy run, but when it comes to Tiffany, that's probably what I'm most excited about because the crowd over there can see exactly like how great Tiffany Stratton is. And also, Tiffany, I honestly wouldn't be surprised in July with her winning the Money in the Bank because that gimmick fits her so well. She could easily customize that briefcase, make it look pink, put a little bow on it, have a little fluff, have a little Barbie gimmick with the Money in the briefcase. She's the type of person who's like, well, I got this. I can cash it in whenever I want. It just fits her so well.
What if she changes the briefcase into a purse?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Dude, that would be
Kiana James would definitely do that.
Oh hell yeah, she would.
Dude,
And pink as well.
I'm not gonna lie,
and how
I might buy the pink one.
how Damian Priest has senior Money in the Bank. Tiffany is gonna write Tiffy time or something like that on the bank.
Tiffy in the Bank.
Yes, Tiffy in the
Tiffy
Bank.
in the bank.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, that makes sense.
love it.
Because I know definitely we're not even near Money in the Bank, but I know she's like
Oh yeah,
basically a top contender. The community wants to win it, which makes sense, honestly.
Hey,
Yeah.
I'm all for
Now-
it. She is it.
Now, Drop, I do want to throw this question at you too. Where do you think Nia Jax falls in this? Because I saw a couple posts on Twitter about Nia Jax will be thrown into the match, make it a fatal 4-way and all that, and I'm like, I don't know about that yet. But what are your thoughts on that possibility?
I think she's probably going to align herself with Tiffany only because they have a relationship outside of WWE where they're always making TikTok together. And Tiffany has also said that, she's always she's been having a lot of fun traveling with Naya and everything like that. So they can kind of like factor that relationship they had, almost like how they did those many years ago with Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax. They can kind of like have a relationship like that, because you got to look at it like this. Naomi and Bailey are on the same page. For them, it's like friendly competition. So worst case scenario, it's like, you can't have the two of them like ganging up on Tiffany, because Tiffany's just that pillar. If Tiffany wasn't there, they would just have their match and they would just go on with it. But in order to put it on an even playing field, in order for things to look more interesting, including Naya in the mix, just being there in the corner of Tiffany, not being a part of the match, because obviously we know it's official that Nick Aldis said there's going to be a triple threat at Backlash, but just knowing Naya's there, and more than likely, I wouldn't be surprised after Tiffany and Naomi are done with Naomi and Bailey are done with Tiffany. I wouldn't be surprised if Nia Jax starts reuniting that feud with Bailey again.
Yeah, and I'm kind of glad you mentioned Alexa too, because, and I mean, this is just fantasy booker writer in me. It's just like, when Alexa does come back, there's a story written right there with Alexa and Nia's relationship, and how, like, at least in kayfabe, it kind of crumbled a little bit, mainly because Alexa being a bully and all that way back when, whatever. But like, there is a story there that they could tell and all that. But again, that's just like fantasy book and fantasy writing and all that. But Vash, what about you? How do you think Nia Jax kind of fits into all this?
I don't know shit. I honestly don't know. Like,
look, it's all good.
That is the most simplest answer I'm gonna give you for the night. Like, for this one, I'm clueless from Nia's predecessor history from this, and I didn't even know that Nia and Bailey had a feud back then. So I am speechless, and I have no theories on this conversation.
All right, no problems there. Well, hey, if that's it, then that might be it. So let me just tell you all one thing. This SmackDown tonight, it was all right. We had our draft picks, we had our draft going through, we had some matches, we had some stories going on, but like, there was a sort of weakness to it, and I mean, it was just all right, and I think a lot of things, again, that May 6th date, I think is going to be very important and very telling to the future of these storylines and where everybody's at. And also, like, I'm really hoping that this draft is actually like a strict set in stone draft, because we've had these drafts before in the past where it's like, you got drafted.
Did you last for like a good 6 months, and after that gets fade out?
If that, like, that, I remember one time we had a draft, and like immediately the next week somebody showed up on Raw who was a SmackDown person. It's just like, well, what are we doing? We just had a draft, like, and you're trying to pit, brand warfare and all that stuff. It's just like, well,
I'm still waiting for the day that Randy does an RKO to Nick Aldis. I'm waiting for the next one, because he technically pay him $10K for the 2 RKOs. I'm just waiting for the next one. Hey,
maybe that's when he turns heel.
Oh, that'd be a nice, perfect time. But
actually, that kind of makes sense.
My SmackDown overall thoughts is that I don't know if we get ratings or if we've been doing it inconsistently or consistently for it. But I'm gonna just say, SmackDown for this one, good draft, first time 2024 from Triple H era. I fuck with it. Night one, people may understand. You have a lot of horseshit up your ass, because if you're gonna complain about this draft being everyone staying where they are, well, no shit, it's called draft. We're supposed to keep the people you want to keep at your main roster, motherfuckers. That's what the point it is. Other than that, the contract signing was very good. Carmelo, he did good. He didn't miss on the performance. He lost on the match though. Braun Breaker, Cedric Alexander, that's what I need to say. LWO, Carlitos, it was not Santos Escobar this time. You was not the one to blame. It was actually Carlitos to be blamed. You got caught 4K, 8K, 10K, 12K. You was on camera. And then Electra Lopez, how did you get this footage? because it seems like they need help in a different house, in a different company to find footage and much better quality. Other than that, this was a good SmackDown weekly. Was it 5 out of 5? No. I'll give it like a solid 3.8. It was good. It was good. It was solid. I was entertained. That's what matters. I don't have a lot of shit on my ass like a lot of fans do online.
Oh God.
Yeah, I mean, to put it this way, if you want to come here and actually see people that have common sense, just watch our podcast. Because a lot of the stuff that you see online, people just say stuff out of their ass. That's just how it is on Twitter. Twitter's always been a cesspool. So if you want to have some time to kill and spend 2 to 3 hours just listening to people that have brains, just watch our podcast.
And we have
That's
time
the
codes
best way to put
in
it.
case you want to actually check on all the stuff we have. It's on the description down below. And everything is appreciated. Like, comment, subscribe, share. That's all. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah,
And my overall thoughts on it, thought it was a solid show. My only question, which was on my mind for the most part throughout this show, is I'm hoping after this draft's all said and done, I'm hoping we get a balanced women's division on Raw.
Yes, agree.
Yeah. Oh, especially Raw.
Especially
Like,
Raw, yeah.
They are lacking in
Raw is
star.
going to be intriguing.
Damage control. Oh, sorry, what?
Raw's going to be very intriguing of what we see this coming Monday on the selections.
Take a look.
Mm-hmm.
On the choices?
Yeah, I'll take a look as you talk.
No, that was like...
for Monday?
Yeah. I'm just gonna, go through what they got.
Yeah.
For Monday, it's going to be intriguing.
There's a lot of people on there.
Yeah, they have, I believe, like 40 choices and everything. They have a lot more choices in the women division. They have Piper
like 6
Evans,
rounds,
they have
right?
Candice, they have Indy, they have the Kabuki Warriors, Damage Control, they have Jade, they have I'm forgetting the WO girl,
I see it.
Tiffany. They have a lot more players. They have a lot of the tag team. They have Kaden and Katana. So they have a lot more options in the Raw roster to play around with on the draft pool. We just hope it's actually used.
Yeah. Got Odyssey Jones there.
Oh my God, yes. I love how he's still there yet he hasn't done anything.
Yeah.
Oh, poor guy. But you know what? As much as Vash has had a vendetta against social media tonight, Vash, please tell the audience where they can find each and every one of us.
If you've been watching
on
here,
the social medias.
If you've been watching us here on the YouTube, thank you for watching. Our playlist is down below for all the links that we're slowly uploading all the podcast episodes from episodes 1 to 18 is when we started doing the YouTube one. So yes, all the uploads will be there soon by the next month of May. So by the end of May, all of them will be there. So if you haven't checked them out on Twitch, you can just see the full coverage on YouTube on the playlist. They will not be public, but they will be unlisted for the YouTube side as well. Thank you for watching on the Twitch side on twitch.tv/AniMa Studio, and everywhere you can find us is down below on the description, like AniMa Studio, at Legendary Vash, I Drop This Box, and at Watkins MW, and hashtag as always if you want to hit us up. We're cleaning the Discord right now, so the Discord link might not be working, so the Discord is getting a cleanup, a few changes, so definitely stay tuned for a new updated link where it could be public for the access to fully talk about anything in the pop culture world and whatever Anima We Studio does talk about or want to have a discussion in the future.
Exactly. And of course, people, thank you for taking time out of your day to listen to the Weebs of the Ring podcast. If you enjoyed what we had to say, why not do exactly what Vash just said? We are known as Anima We Studio on all social media platforms. Just remember, that's we with a 3. Also use the hashtag Weebs of the Ring to interact with us about anything regarding wrestling before, during, or after our shows. Just, make sure you have a clear, concise thought when you talk. Thank you, especially in the cesspool. But, we also appreciate feedback because we are nothing without you tuning in. Weebs of the Ring is presented by AniMa Studio. Thanks to our production team of Vash, Watkins, Drop This Box, Rome with a Dot, and Jokester, as well as special thanks to JB and Abe. Thank you for joining us, and remember, no stunt grannies were harmed in the recording of this podcast. Have a great night, everyone.